Next on America's Day at the Races, Saturday stacked with stakes action, including a major Kentucky Derby prep from Tampa. Is Tappan Trice for Hall of Fame trainer Todd Pletcher a Derby frontrunner? He looked the part in his last start. Today comes his first test down the Derby Trail. In Hot Springs, Arkansas, some of the best in the Distaff division meet in an early showdown in the Azeri. Two-time Grade 1 winner Clariere is back for her 5-year-old campaign. Will she stake claim to being the division leader with a commanding performance to start her season? Or will last year's Kentucky Oaks winner return to the form that had her atop the 3-year-old filly class the first half of the year? She makes her 4-year-old return for legendary Dwayne Lucas. And at Aqueduct, the correction is the feature for fillies and mares sprinting. And Rosa Veloce is the one to beat with 3 wins in her last 4 starts and maybe the hottest trainer in the country right now in Rob Atras. All that and more coming up in this special Saturday edition of America's Day at the Races on FS2. Great to have you with us. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. This has to be the most exciting program we have brought you to date here in 2023. Welcome to South Ozone Park. I am Greg Wolf. Big race on the Derby Trail with horse many believe could be one of the favorites going to the Kentucky Derby. Step by step, we'll see. Today, the first stakes test for the talented $1.3 million Colt Tappan Trice for Todd Pletcher, and that big showdown in the Distaff division in Hot Springs with Secret Oath and Clariere doing battle. Today's action presented by Claiborne Farm. Races 6 through 10 to come on a sloppy track here at Aqueduct. Going as fast in Hot Springs. We'll bring you races 4 through 10. And at Tampa Bay, we'll see live coverage from Lafitte Pinkai, Acacia Clement with that Derby showdown coming up, that prep with Tappan Trice, that Grade 3 race 11 on the card, and tremendous undercard as well. With me, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. These are the days in this sport that we get really excited about.
No, I agree, and it's an interesting mix, which you alluded to. You obviously have Tappan Trice, as you said, right now. A lot of people excited about this horse. We'll see what he can do as the going gets a little bit tougher, but also the older fillies and mares that are running in the Azeri down at Oaklawn Park. You've got Secret Oath coming back. You've got Clariere coming back. It's a really fun day of racing. The undercard at Tampa, good as well. We're
going to get right to it. We'll get to Lafitte and Acacia just a little bit, but they're loading up at Tampa. Mile on the turf. This starts their pick 5 in the Columbia Freedom Trail on the rail, taking a lot of money, as is Mo Stash coming back for Victoria Oliver, the 9-year first start back at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, and then Talk of the Nation on the outside for Shug McGahee, the 10.
Yeah, the Shug McGahee horse ran a huge race first time on the turf last time. The buyer was strong. I'm not playing against this horse. Heavy favorite.
Jason Beam with the call. It's the start of the pick 5 on this tremendous stakes stacked program from Tampa Bay.
Comes up and in. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Columbia Stakes. Talk of the Nation away just a half step slow. Good start out toward the inside of Western Yarn, showing good speed up from the outside. Mo Stash is forwardly placed. Smoke Lightning right there in that second flight, as is Summer B. But it's going to be Mo Stash and Western Yarn, those two up front. Talk of the Nation now getting closer up on the outside, but it's going to be caught out about 4 wide as they go into that first turn. Smoke Lightning's right to that one's inside, now takes over third. Summer B was out 5th. It's a length more than back to Freedom Trail. Nagus Boy with 2 beat early on. Those are Sendero, and at the back early on is Lights of Broadway. They got the opening quarter in 22 3/5 seconds. A Western Yarn, Daniel Centeno now trying to slow him down in front by a length to Mo Stash in the second position. It's another length then back to Talk of the Nation, who's shadowing Smoke Lightning. Those two are 3rd and 4th. Length and a half more back to Summer B. Freedom Trail stays down toward the inside as Nagus Boy starts to progress. Lights of Broadway is out of last, is starting to move up on the outside, but going to be cast out 4 or 5 deep as Sendero at the back, but they tighten up here in the Columbia. Only about 5 lengths front to back. Nagus Boy had to check out of traffic there, is now back last. 47 seconds for that opening half mile. A Western Yarn and Mo Stash. Talk of the Nation looms up 3 deep, just a length off the top 2. Length and a half more back to Summer B, who's pushed along. Trying to gain out wide is Lights of Broadway. Down on the fence, Smoke Lightning, Sendero. Freedom Trail going to need to find somewhere to run, is about 4 lengths off the lead as they turn to the top of the stretch. Mo Stash on the outside pokes a nose in front. A Western Yarn, Talk of the Nation now bursting down the center of the course, and here's Talk of the Nation leveling out and taking over the lead. Mo Stash back to second. 3 more than back to a Western Yarn, but Talk of the Nation and Sammy Camacho going clear here to win the Columbia by 2.5 in the end. Mo Stash was second, third, a Western Yarn, and 4th, Freedom Trail.
Talk of the Nation finds another gear mid-stretch. And back-to-back wins now for this 3-year-old for Shug McGahee.
This is a promising horse. This feels like a horse we're going to hear something from in our big 3-year-old races this year. This horse has run twice now on the turf. A homebred for China Horse Club that Joe Allen bought into. And, I mean, the first turf race was a fast race if you look at figures. And he looked for a second like he was idling a little bit right in the turn. And then they got in the stretch and he kicked away. He's a promising runner. We'll hear more from him later in the year.
Impressive turn of foot there on the lawn. Big one, of course, later today on that road to that first Saturday in May. Grade 3, Tampa Bay Derby. And we're going to see Tapit Trice for Todd Pletcher in his stakes debut.
I'll tell you one thing. If he doesn't win this race today, unless something goes massively wrong, he's a horse you don't want in the Kentucky Derby because he is supposed to beat the field he's running against today. And I have to give Todd Pletcher a lot of credit. He's brought him along slowly. He resisted running in the Holy Bull the same day as this allowance race. He would have probably won that Holy Bull. But I think Todd felt he wanted to take his time a little bit with him. And now he's picked the Tampa Bay Derby. He couldn't have found a softer spot in the Triple Crown Trail for this horse. Obviously, the going will get tougher. And when he talked to Acacia earlier, he mentioned getting him more starts as he gets towards the Derby. They're all a long way from getting the roses, but he's certainly one of the players.
Getting him out of the gate a little bit better an issue as well. It's our ABR race of the week. It is a good one. So much talk about the talent of Tapit Trice here for Todd Pletcher, Whisper Hill Farm in Gainesway. Luis Saez will be aboard, 8 to 5 morning line. I doubt you will get anything near that come post time. Let's check in with our crew live on site. Lafitte Pinkai and Acacia Clement.
Greg, thanks so much. Picture perfect festival day here at Tampa Bay Downs. The stakes racing just getting underway. We just saw Talk of the Nation, how impressive he was moments ago in the Columbia.
A horse that had pedigree to go for the turf, switched to the grass last time out, was really impressive and backed that up with a nice performance today. I agree with Andy. I think we're going to be hearing from him at down the line.
That's the story with Tapit Trice as well. Expecting big things from him moving forward in his 4th career start, $1.3 million purchase. What are you expecting from him today in the Tampa Bay Derby?
Well, it's interesting. He's going to have to break well today. In his first 2 starts in New York, we saw that he was a horse that was really slow out of the gate and really seemed to resent the kickback. I noticed last time at Gulfstream that Luis Saez was very intentional about taking him to the outside, keeping him clear from any potential kickback. So we'll have to see what kind of trip he plays today because he has not been a horse historically who has been showing a lot of focus. I told you I've gotten a little bit of a horse crush of Tapit Trice because I've spent a few mornings with him at the barn, and he is a total goofball, a real character, but kind of a typical Tapit that lacks a little bit of that mental maturity at this stage.
Well, we'll have a chance to see that a little bit later on, and he has the right man in his corner. You mentioned Todd Pletcher. Like so many of the other Derby prep races, the all-time leader in Tampa Bay Derby wins with 5, working on 6 Acacia. And here's the thing, none of those names on that list. 3 others, his best 3 finishes in the Kentucky Derby. He's had 2 wins, 2 seconds. 3 of those horses at some point have come through Tampa Bay Downs.
He's had a lot of success starting horses off here. He has 2 chances in today's Tampa Bay Derby as well, running Shesterkin, who he still thinks needs a little bit of seasoning and will have to reach to improve coming into this group in here today. But obviously Todd's had a lot of success, and he has a strong hold on the 3-year-old picture already with Forte's impressive win last week in the Fountain of Youth.
Yeah, the beat goes on for Todd Pletcher here. We'll see what Tapit Trice does in his stakes debut. And we just saw what Talk of the Nation did in this Columbia occasion, putting in that furious late rally, the acceleration through the stretch. It looked like we were going to have 2 or 3 of them vying for it inside the final 16th. He found another gear and he was gone.
I think he's still figuring things out a little bit too. You could see early on that Sammy Camacho had a little bit of trouble with him in the first turn, getting him to kind of settle, getting him to relax. It's only his 2nd start on the grass, but once he finally got into stride, he has a lovely floaty stride. The way he covers the ground out of She's Not Here, multiple graded stakes winner who was a 5-time turf winner, and her son likes the lawn as well.
Shug McGahee, well represented in the Hillsborough and Florida Oaks. Talk of the Nation in the Columbia. Much more on trainer Todd Pletcher, looking to pad his stats, seeking a 6th win in the Tampa Bay Derby, with all eyes on Tapit Trice, 8 to 5 morning line favorite. Victory today. He vaults his name onto that short list of very early Kentucky Derby favorites. Just getting started on America's Day at the Races.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 7 millionaires. With over 10% stakes performers, his recent top runners include Tarabi, placed in the Grade 1 Spinaway and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, Grade 2 winner Plum Ali, plus these standout performers.
It's Bushido coming down to the wire in the Ontario Racing Stakes has run them ragged.
A proven value sire. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Thanks for spending part of your Saturday with us. Program brought to you in part where you can play it all at NYRABets.com. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Get this offer for new members. Voila, $200 deposit match sign-up bonus. Punch in this code to get it, bonus 200, and you're all set. Again, NYRABets.com, the place to go. Time to bring in Jonathan Kinchin for the first time on the program today. We're going to wind up today, JK, with your best bet.
Well, first of all, if you were watching the show yesterday, Wolfie tried to dunk on me. I was on the call today before you were, by the way, the production call. So one of us takes our job more serious than the other. Maybe it's you, maybe it's me. My best bet today is Clairiere in the Azeri. My actual best bet is the cross-country pick 5. We'll give you a ticket for the cross-country pick 5 a little bit later. But as an individual wager, I love Clairiere in this spot for a couple of reasons. Anytime you get a horse like Secret Oath, who runs against the boys, shows up in the Kentucky Oaks and wins, trained by a Hall of Famer in D. Wayne Lucas, she's going to take money, especially at the racetrack where she did a majority of her damage last year. People know her from her races at Oaklawn. That's going to give us just a little bit of a bump on Clairiere, who I think is an absolute cinch in this race. She's the best horse. I think she's training extremely well, and I cannot wait to bet her at what I hope is even money.
Jonathan's streak of 236 missed production calls was broken today? Wow. I mean, I was
Finally
there
showed up to one. Well done,
Wow,
JK.
it's impressive.
Let's give him a medal. For the record, by the way, I did send a message to everyone.
You were on the subway. You have an excuse.
Back in
You're also on
Oaklawn,
every call.
post-parade for the 4th.
I'm taking your side of this.
Thank you.
I'm defending the home team, Jonathan.
Barstool Babe, Ron Moquette, David Cabrera from the Royal.
Oh, okay, so we're going right into this. And the only thing interesting I'd say about this horse is coming from post 12 last time, now draws the rail. Maybe he can get some better position.
Second time out, Mike Maker. She's a small-town girl.
Yeah, I guess she seems possible in this race. Ran a little bit.
5-2 on an unsung melody. Big figure in the mud.
Listen, this horse runs back that figure, but goes at a mud-related number. Big number last time.
Moquette as well with Sweet Connection.
Yeah, he's got a couple of second-time stars. The other one looked a little better to me.
First-time starter for Brad Cox. She's a rocket.
You always know it's Frank Fletcher when there's a rocket in the name. $300,000 a 2-year-old.
Gold Ticket, another first-time starter. This one for Danny Pites.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Danny Pites used to train for the Lowe's, trained a filly named Capote Bell a number of years ago.
11-1 on this second-time starter, Fearless Viv.
Do you want to think this horse a little interesting for Diodoro after basically being eased in the debut, after blowing the brake but being unprepared?
5-1 Flying Bessie, Asmussen Rosario.
Hasn't she had enough chances?
Missed by a neck to Classy Bridget, who's pretty talented. Into Love at 4-1.
She's just a quitting type horse, and if she can't clear, I don't think she has any chance to win this race. I feel like betting a little bit on the 9 on a sort of Diodoro guess.
You can do it at Naira Bets.
I plan to do it.
Race 9 is that big distaff showdown in the Grade 2 Azeri, mile and a 16th. Kentucky Oaks winner from last year's Secret Oath. Returning for D. Wayne Lucas and Clairiere, who JK is in love with, it sounds like, and easy to see why. She has a lot of talent. 2-time Grade 1 winner, returns for her 5-year-old beginning of her season. Let's check in for Paula Duca with more from Hot Springs. Paulie.
Yeah, an interesting feature today, Greg, because when you consider Clairiere coming back for her 5-year-old season, I was able to catch up with Steve Asmussen actually after the races yesterday, and, you know, I was wondering, like, how excited are you for Clairiere to start her 5-year-old campaign? And he said, you know, reminds me of a little bit of Gunrunner, and he's not comparing this horse to Gunrunner. She's obviously a mare. Gunrunner was a champion. But he just thought that the race at Saratoga had trouble at the gate, and this race, like Andy said on the show yesterday, this horse looked like that she was gin on the rail, and Blue Stripe in the middle just stung her a tiny bit, and Malathot just got the better of her. But, you know, when they, you know, Steve even made a comment that a lot of you guys even say. I've heard Mig say it. I've heard Mag say it. Most of these horses hit their peak condition at age 5. So I'm excited to see Clairiere run too. I'm also interested to see how Interstate Daydream stacks up with Secret Oath as well. And, you know, Secret Oath getting a new rider with Tyler Gaffalione. Luis Saez, very, very obviously knowledgeable of Secret Oath. So it's going to be interesting how Tyler Gaffalione handles her as well. So a very, very nice feature here as well here in Hot Springs.
Really excited for that one. That's going to be a lot of fun as we get set for this 4th coming up. Who takes that step forward between those two big names, Clairiere and Secret Oath?
And as Paulie mentioned with Interstate Daydream, a horse that showed flashes last year for Brad Cox, she could take a step forward as well. No, it's a fascinating race. I'm looking forward to that as well. And you think that another prep race going to the Grade 1 Apple Blossom coming up next month, and be nice. I know we lost Malathot, but it would be nice. We've gained Nest in that division. Be nice if Secret Oath. Be nice if Secret Oath and Nest could square off again, and Secret Oath be in good form to see if she could take another crack at her if she's in her best form, though it's not going to be easy for anyone to beat Nest.
It's a great rivalry early on last year, and the Nest just took command, but maybe Secret Oath can get back in the mix this year. Refreshed and now back as a 4-year-old with some time off. Let's bring in Paulie here in the 4th. Of course, Paulie, it's this 4-horse, that big effort in the mud last time out. Can she repeat it?
Well, here's the thing. Obviously, Punch Bowl has turned out to be a decent filly, right? I mean, he came back to win right again. And there's 4 horses coming out of that race, and they're kind of all getting played. Now, Unsung Melody ran giant that day off a race for John Ortiz, and Johnny Ortiz's horses at that time weren't really clicking. You know, the last, week or so, his horses have been running a little bit. So I do think the 4 deserves to be the favorite in here. Into Love on the outside, the 11. For Larry Jones and Gabriel Saez. You know, this horse is actually the lowest when it comes to the will pays in the picks, and another horse that comes out of the Punch Bowl race. I liked Pate the other day, who did not run as well as I thought she did, but she got beat by Pate. Flying Bessie, I'm going to take a different view. I understand that she's had a ton of chances, but she's caught 3 straight sloppy racetracks in a row. She was right behind Classy Bridget. Rosario back aboard. He seems to be so good when he gets back aboard a horse for the 2nd time, and he learns the horse a little bit. So I think the 10 at 9-2 is good value. She's a rocket. Like Andy said, whenever Frank Fletcher puts rocket in their name, 10 strike, it's just one of those things where, do you want to gamble right here at 3-1? Where did you think this horse would land? So wide open betting race here. Hopefully you're alive in your early pick 5s. But I'm going to go with the 10, Flying Bessie at 9-2. I'm going to give her one more shot, Gregor.
All right, Paulie, that's the 10 right now at 5-1. Left-hand side of your screen, race 6 at Aqueduct. It is the start of the late pick 5, and the big story there, Jokemeister, the 3, Rob Atras, going for his 7th straight victory on the Naira circuit.
Yeah, it's been a massive juggernaut over the last few days. He wins in bunches, and I picked Jokemeister here, the 3, because the horse is lone speed now with a scratch of the 4.
Here we go from Oaklawn. Unsung Melody, the 4, John Ortiz. The favorite, Jim Byers, the call.
And Into Love. Sweet Connection also is loaded. Into Love moves in. They're in the gate. And they're off. And a brilliant start for She's a Small Town Girl. And up on the outside, Unsung Melody very quickly into stride. Unsung Melody to the lead. And the firster, She's a Rocket, is going to chase her up the backstretch. The quick breaking She's a Small Town Girl back to third now. Outside of her is Sweet Connection. And then to the inside comes Barstool Babe. She's racing in fifth, a length and a half, to the good of Into Love, who's about 4 wide on the outside and is outside of Fearless Viv. Then it's a length and a half to Gold Ticket. And trailing the field is Flying Bessie. She's a good dozen lengths off the lead. Unsung Melody, Ray Gutierrez with the lead by a length as they come to the head of the stretch. Florent Giroux getting after She's a Rocket. That first-time starter is next up to the outside, Into Love. She's a Rocket dropping back. Into Love into second now as Unsung Melody challenged by Into Love. She's a Small Town Girl now third, then Barstool Babe on the inside, and Flying Bessie. Unsung Melody in the final strides. Into Love couldn't get her. Unsung Melody a length and a half, nearly 2 lengths over Into Love. And She's a Small Town Girl. Flying Bessie, Barstool Babe, a photo for fourth.
Unsung Melody, she broke incredibly sharp, and she gets the win in start number 3.
Yeah, showing that the wet track was not what made her get better last time because she ran very well. The Cradcock's first-time starter, She's a Rocket, not really betting here at 3-1, showed speed, but she wasn't able to keep up at all with this one. Unsung Melody, a much-deserved winner for our man, Raylu.
Yeah, Raylu Gutierrez aboard for that victory. Back to New York. Late pick 5 starts here. 6.5 furlong sprint to kick it off for non-winners of 3 Life, 14 claiming race.
Yeah, probably the horse to beat is On the Rail on talent.
9-2 on Brunate, Jose Lezcano.
Yeah, I don't know how Brunati fits in this field. Not for me.
Again, Rob Atras, trainer, looking for his 7th straight win on the circuit with Jokemeister.
And with the scratch of the 4 Storm Shooter, this horse can be loose. And for the most part, speed has been very good today.
18-1 on Catching Cupid with Jose Gomez.
Yeah, this horse looks to be overmatched. That's the big price. Last 3 have been disasters.
Contender after 5 for Rob Falcone.
I want to expand on this a little later. This horse is a massive negative drop down and not taking any money, Greg.
10-1 outside, Can't Beat Me, Romero Mirage for James Begg.
Got the job done against Weaker last time.
2 minutes to post here in the 6th. Again, it kicks off this pick 5. Let's bring in for the first time on our Saturday program, Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, we'll take a look at the horse that looks to be the lone Speed. And as Andy pointed out, Speed has been very good on this card. I think the only race where it wasn't won by a horse on the lead, that horse on the lead, I mean, just lost the bob. So it's been a very, very much a track. And then the last race, too, with the Speed just kind of evaporating, going way too fast. But with Jokemeister's Speed, he just looks to control and sit a lovely trip in here. And while he actually physically looks a bit better than the last time I saw him, he is acting a little bit different. Usually a horse that does get on his toes and shows a little bit more energy is a little bit more calm, but I really don't think that has any negative or ill effects on the fact that he is going to be leaving there quickly and how he'll run today. I will say there has been an equipment change. He used to run in a Houghton bit for a horse that does like to drift out. Only has a snaffle on today, but you would think that Dylan Davis shouldn't have to touch his mouth too much this time around. Number 7 after 5, as Andy said, he's been fairly chilly on the board. Negative drop down. I've always thought he's more of a turf horse, though I will say that this sealed sloppy track that we see here should at least help him a touch. And while he has a bit of that, as Meg likes to say, a Florida tan on, and his coat's better, he's a bit lighter. You know, he's done some shipping. He's shipped down from here to Florida. Now he's shipped back up, and just all of that, I just don't think it's really agreed with him necessarily. But a guy that agrees with the show, JK, what do you got for this one here?
Well, I'll tell you what, Maggie, I was born with a Florida tan, so I don't know what Meg was talking about. I like the 7 after 5 here. It just feels like a horse that I understand the surface questions, but just might seem a little bit better. We got a couple of races coming up quick, so we're going to give you 3 picks here. The 7 after 5 here at Aqueduct. When we go down to Tampa, I'm going to go with the Reds, the 6 horse. I think this horse is going to appreciate getting back onto Lasix. And then to wrap up this little kind of hot and heavy moment, Oaklawn Park race 5, the 7 Peaceful Street just seems faster than his competition.
I want to talk about the 7 here. And listen, I understand what Jonathan, this horse can absolutely win this race after 5. But I'm sorry, this horse stinks. And I'll tell you why. Well, I mean, no, stinks has a smell, has an odor, in other words. This horse was claimed for $30,000 Wesley Ward. And Rob Falcone did something that a lot of trainers have trouble doing, and we've talked about it. Winning with horses claimed from Wesley Ward. He's done very well with them. He shipped the horse to Florida, ran a mile and 70 yards in synthetic. This horse is purely a sprinter. Can run on turf, can run on dirt, and actually didn't run that badly when you consider the distance of the race. Ships the horse back to New York. This horse can run on the dirt, but also is a better turf sprinter. We're going to be back on the turf in less than 4 weeks here. So this horse's time is coming. He can run on the turf. He can run if we get rained off the turf and running off the dirt races. Yet Rob is dangling him out there for $14,000. And not only Rob Falcone, who's smart, Sandy Goldfarb, who owns him, is one of the smartest owners in the game. They're lining up to claim this horse, and these guys are saying, please take him off my hands. So he may win, but this horse has an odor about him.
Right-hand side of your screen, that's Tampa Bay Downs, Grade 3 Challenger. JK going with the stablemate of Skippy Longstocking, who is the 2-5 favorite. He went with the Reds, the veteran 5-year-old, who is making his second start back of his 5-year-old campaign.
I always like the Reds. I wish them the best of luck.
Back here to New York. Here we go. Chris Griffin, the call, race 6.
And they're off. Good break to the outside from after 5, and there's Jokemeister. Jokemeister right out to the front is now up by a full length. They're chasing Jokemeister, and to the inside is Dr. Love, who's now moved to the inside of after 5, who's back to third. Then Brunate is in the blue silks, is back there with a driven along catching Cupid, and the trailer out in the center of the racetrack. That's Can't Beat Me. They're chasing Jokemeister. Jokemeister is doing it nicely enough so far, is approaching 4 furlongs left to go, and went 22-1 unopposed on the front end. It's Jokemeister with less than 4 furlongs to go. Dr. Love is in the clear, is chasing a clear second. Then comes the run from after 5. Brunate is trying to slip through at the rail here, is in 4th. They're well strung out once again. Can't Beat Me is just past. Catching Cupid, who's now the trailer. It's Jokemeister still in front. Dr. Love is in pursuit, is looming up on the outside. Also coming with a run is going to be after 5 as they approach a quarter mile left to go. They went 46-2 for that half-mile time. Jokemeister is trying to fend them off. Dr. Love is trying to end the Atras streak, and here comes Dr. Love up alongside and after 5 on the grandstand side. It's after 5 who's coming after Dr. Love, who's very game. It's Dr. Love to the inside, and now after 5 and Jamie Torres push on by. It's after 5. Dr. Love comes back. Brunate is a third, but it's going to be after 5 way out in the center of the racetrack, but gets the victory over Dr. Love, Brunate, and Can't Beat Me in 1 minute 19.47 seconds.
Well, trainer Rob Atras, he was 2 wins shy of equaling a record on this circuit. That 6-race win streak comes to an end here. You heard that from Chris Griffin. He alluded to it. After 5, Rob Falcone, Jaime Torres team up.
Listen, just because they're negative drop-downs doesn't mean they can't win. I would never bet a horse like this in the drop-down. I'm certainly not surprised he won. Obviously, on paper, if he ran his good race, he was going to win. I'm going to be very interested to see what happens to this horse going forward, because I would bet dollars to donuts that he got claimed, and probably were 10 people going in for him. But he got it done today, as the speed of Jokemeister just didn't matter. He had nothing.
And by the way, the 7, 1 of 2 that did get claimed in that race. Back to Tampa, Grade 3 Challenger, start of the pick 4, mile and a 16th, and here's trademark Antonio Gallardo, I believe a rider change here.
This is a horse you and I talked about quite a bit last time when he paid an amazing $9 in that off-the-turf race. I'm interested to see him coming back, because he ran very well in his last 2 starts.
Skippy Longstocking, winner of the Grade 3 Harlan's Holiday back in December, the odds-on favorite.
Oddly, that Harlan's Holiday fig, as high as it seems, does hold up quite a bit for some of the other runners, maybe a little high. He's overbet, but he's the horse to beat.
Mighty Heart, the 6-year-old at 15-1.
Yeah, he doesn't have dirt races that make him competitive here.
Here's Surly Furious, who has some speed.
There will be some surly, furious people if this horse wins here.
Stablemate to the odds-on favorite. So here's the Reds, who JK is making his selection.
Yeah, I don't like this horse. 2 back, I bet him, and he got a huge pace to close into as the whole field was closing. I just don't know if he's really good enough. But
former Jim Dandy winner here. This is Tax.
7-year-old now trying to re-find himself.
And outside business model, Brendan Walsh.
If I was going to try to beat the favorite, I would use the 1 and maybe business model, but he's got to get back to his very best race here. It's an ambitious spot.
3-time winner of Luis Saez in the irons. This is the horse to beat, though. Skippy Longstocking was in the Preakness and Belmont last year. Distant third in the Belmont behind Mo Donegal. And this is a look at that huge performance in December. 106 Beyer figure, biggest figure he's ever run to end the year.
A little hard to justify that number based on his other races. And he's really not an overwhelming favorite based on the other races, save the West Virginia Derby and the slop at Mountaineer, where who knows what's going on. Didn't run well last time against Tougher. I mean, he's the horse to beat. I don't see him as being a good bet at this price. And, I mean, in defense of Jonathan, the Reds has run figures, the kind of figures he's run in some of his other races. He's overbet, but the horse to beat.
Start of what could be very, very big things to come for the outstanding rider, reigning outstanding rider, Eclipse Award winner Ira Ortiz Jr. He's on the 1-2 favorite here. With more, let's go to Lafitte and Acacia.
You're not kidding, Greg, with Ira Ortiz. You know, it was last year, Acacia, he marched into here on this day, won 4 races, 3 stakes races, 2 of the graded variety, and, of course, the wire-to-wire score with Classic Causeway in the Tampa Bay Derby. Poised to do that kind of damage once again this afternoon, Ira Ortiz. He already has 1 win this afternoon. Skippy Longstocking here in several other lot contenders and stakes races today.
And Skippy Longstocking, a short price favorite for Ira Ortiz, as he'll climb back aboard. He didn't ride him last time in the Pegasus World Cup because he chose to ride defunded for trainer Bob Baffert. You can understand the decision there. Ira Ortiz had won the Pegasus World Cup for Bob Baffert in the past. But he comes back aboard to Skippy Longstocking, and I was there on the day that he won the Harlan's Holiday, and Ira was pumped up with that performance that afternoon.
Ira Ortiz, Skippy Longstocking, heavily favored 1-2, but no such thing as a sure thing, Acacia. And with the absence of Classic Causeway, in terms of the pace, who might that benefit this afternoon?
You would imagine that we'll see Mighty Heart be forwardly placed in here. He's a horse that has some speed. It just is the question, is he really quite good enough? And then you wonder, what does Tax do? The kind of ageless Tax, so to speak. Now a 7-year-old. They tried him on the turf last time off of a layoff. He comes back in here yet again, and he used to show a lot of speed. I remember Danny Gargan saying to me at one point that he's such a big, solid horse, and you can see him in comparison to the lead pony out there, that he actually takes up the entire starting gate, all of the space in there. And sometimes horses of that kind of size, they don't necessarily break as sharp as they potentially can. Watching back some of his recent races, he seems like he has been breaking a little bit better. He's very professional out on the racetrack, and now that he's 7, you would anticipate that if he breaks, that could kind of be the key for him. And I did see Ira Ortiz give a very strong warm-up to Skippy Longstocking.
It seems like he won that Jim Dandy 22 years ago,
yeah.
Tax, but here he is still going strong. All right, so Andy Sterling perhaps not as enthusiastic about JK's top selection here in the Reds. What do you think about the outsider at 14-1?
He's got to prove it to me today, but I do think that Jonathan makes a great point about him and the fact that he gets Lasix back today. And I think that really could be the key, because his 2 worst efforts recently have been in graded stakes company when he can't use Lasix. A reminder here at Tampa, he can have Lasix. It was very a disappointing effort last time in the Fred Hooper, but I did notice watching that race that he was really antsy in the starting gate. He seemed to be lacking some focus. He's a horse that seems to run well, and he wears it on his sleeve when he's going to run well. His weight looked really good today. He seemed to be moving well out on track. He seemed very relaxed under Edgard Zayas. So maybe the Lasix could be the thing for him today, and he's showing that he's a horse that's doing well right now. He will need some more pace to run at, though.
A theme to follow all afternoon in these stakes races, except the Tampa Bay Derby that does offer Kentucky Derby points. No Lasix for the 3-year-olds in the Tampa Bay Derby, but an impact certainly in this race later on in the Florida Oaks. We'll continue to follow that topic throughout the course of the afternoon. How about that guy in Trademark? When we last saw him last fall, sharp with 2 straight wins.
Very impressive, and a very crafty schedule by Vicky Oliver. He'd been entered to run in the Grade 1 Clark, and with the weather and the rain that was expected the end of November at Churchill Downs, she scratched him out of that race and entered in the Commonwealth Turf, which was taken off, and he got the win by 4 lengths that day, running on the dirt for his first stakes victory. So she's campaigned him very well. Coming back here for his first start as a 4-year-old, he looked really fit to me. He handled himself really well back in the paddock, and I thought that he was a horse that seemed to be getting getting good at the right time. He had his winter break, been training well at Payson Park, and to me, I thought that he could be a really intriguing prospect at a nice price of 6-1.
For Vicky Oliver, Martin Garcia in the saddle, 6-1 trademark, circling back to the favorite, and Skippy Longstocking. That race 2 back the Harlan's Holiday, anything remotely close to that, Acacia, absolutely buries this field.
You would certainly think so, and I do agree. It was a gaudy figure that you wonder how much can you really put into that, but he faced some nice horses that day, and he was a horse that I had actually thought had a bit of a chance going into the Pegasus World Cup. Last time, it seemed like he was kind of hustled out. He couldn't clear. He was kind of taken out of his comfort game a little bit, hanging on that left lead in the Pegasus World Cup. He just didn't fire, and he was facing some incredibly tough competition. You look at the horses that have since come out of that race to back it up. Stiletto Boy winning the Grade 1 Santa Anita Handicap. We saw Last Samurai win the Razorback, and Skippy Longstocking's stablemate Wida Barrio with a huge allowance victory and a 103 Beyer speed figure. So you would imagine we're going to see Skippy take a step forward again today. Again, I saw Rad Ortiz giving him an aggressive warm-up, and I think it's that he doesn't want him to be too far off of it with the way the pace potentially changed with the scratches.
Rad Ortiz in the 5 stakes races, riding 4 of the morning line favorites. The only one he's not riding in terms of favorites in stakes races. Tapit Trice to be ridden by Luis Saez in the Tampa Bay Derby. At the gate here, any pitfalls that Ortiz and Skippy Longstocking need to avoid in the early stages?
Well, I do think it'll be interesting to see how Tax breaks, and I think that Irad Ortiz will kind of play it that way because he's got Mighty Heart right to his outside, and he has a horse with some tactical speed. I don't think that he's a pace-setting type, but I think that he'll kind of break it off of that. Just to note, Mighty Heart, he does not have a left eye. He wears a goggle over that, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Of course, he can sense the horses to his outside, but no left eye on Mighty Heart.
America loves one-eyed racehorses.
Oh, yeah.
1-2, Skippy Longstocking, all set for the Michelob Ultra Challenger Stakes, live from Tampa Bay Downs on the undercard of the Tampa Bay Derby. Here's Jason Beam.
Here's Business Model coming up. And in. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Challenger Stakes. Good start for the favorite Skippy Longstocking. Tax from the outside showing speed, and Trademark down along the fence. It's going to be the 2 inside runners quickest here as Trademark and a Skippy Longstocking lead him into that first turn. Mighty Heart is out in third. Tax tries to work over from that outside into the 4th position. Certainly Furious up the inside joins that one. It's 2 more lengths then back to the Reds. And Business Model at the back early on, but it is Trademark, Antonio Gallardo to take the point. They lead at 3/4 of a length. Skippy Longstocking, who finds a good position in second. On the outside is Mighty Heart, who's third. The opening quarter, 23-1. Certainly Furious Tax. They race 4th and 5th. The top 5 only separated by 2. It's another length then back to the Reds, and another 3 then back to Business Model, who trails. 4.5 furlongs left to go in the Challenger. Skippy Longstocking right up alongside of Trademark. Draws to within a head as they run to the half-mile pole. Mighty Heart going to be 3 deep as they run to that far turn. Tax starts to scoot in between runners, is up to a joint third now, only 2 off the top. Here's the Reds starting to move up, going to be 4 wide as they go into that turn. Then comes Surly Furious. Business Model still at the back, but the top 6 just separated a length and 3/4 after a 47-second opening half mile. Skippy Longstocking right up alongside of Trademark, and those 2 by the 5/16 pole. Surly Furious gets room down on the inside and goes by Tax to come up and challenge as Skippy Longstocking goes to the front. Surly Furious, the new danger toward the inside. Tax swings out from third. The Reds stalled out a touch on the far outside, trying to rally up toward the inside as Business Model still has 3 or 4 lengths to find. Surly Furious hits the front. Skippy Longstocking right back at him. Tax down the outside, and Business Model continues to make up ground down at the fence. 16th to go. Skippy Longstocking in front now. Surly Furious back to second along with Tax. Skippy Longstocking going to win the Challenger, going away by 3.5 in the end. Second was close. Either Tax or Surly Furious. Business Model finished 4th.
Looked like we had a horse race at the top of the stretch, but in the end, Acacia, Skippy Longstocking outclassing this group. Rad Ortiz, 2nd win on the afternoon, victorious in this Michelob Ultra Challenger Stakes.
The pace did not play out how we necessarily anticipated it would. It was actually Trademark who ended up being the pace setter, but I thought it was interesting. Mighty Heart did not break that sharply, and we're standing right here by the finish line, Lafitte, and you could see Irad Ortiz take a look to his outside to see where Mighty Heart was, saw that he was not there, and put his horse Skippy Longstocking forward. It looked like we were going to see Surly Furious at 26 to 1 running well, but just the class, the strength of Irad Ortiz and Skippy Longstocking coming back at him.
1-2 at post time. Skippy Longstocking over Tex, the 7-year-old, completing the exact results when we come back. And of course, the girls, some very classy fillies and mares at Oaklawn this afternoon. Clairiere, beautifully bred, going head-to-head with Secret Oath back at Oaklawn, where she's done some of her finest work. The Azeri as the path to the Apple Blossom continues later today from Oaklawn.
Here comes Malathon, here comes Clairiere on the outside, and it's got to be Clairiere! Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. And Elite Power gets up to win the sprint. Outside it's Malathon coming to the wire. Who's it gonna be? Here's the wire. Oh, the wish has come true. That one's for you, Cody.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Number 1 is Mo Donegal by Uncle Mo. And they're off in the Remsen. As they come on for the finish, and it's going to be tight here in the Remsen. Mo Donegal bearing down on the outside. It's Mo Donegal and early voting, and it is Mo Donegal to win the Wood Memorial. And it will be Mo Donegal to win the Test of the Champion, the Belmont Stakes.
The Cross Country Pick 5 combines the best racing from New York with top races from around the country in one bet. Find it in your track menu and play every Saturday. Races are posted weekly at nairabets.com/crosscountry. We are back on America's Day of the Races on our FS2 coverage. Program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. I'm going to take you to Oaklawn. Race 5 approaching the 4-minute mark to post. This race, 6 furlong sprint, $20,000 claiming race for horses who have not won 3 lifetime. We have an even money favorite, Peaceful Street, Robertino Diodoro. Get to the 7 in a moment. We start with Red Label.
Yeah, Red Label's coming off a claim from Robertino Diodoro, never an angle I particularly like.
Lansdowne, big number next door at 23-1.
Yeah, ran a good race 2 back. I'm not sure where it came from because no other race from a figure standpoint comes close.
There's Lansdowne, and that big figure 75 buyer 2 back came at Oaklawn. Sissaway now Bentley Combs claims off of McLean Robertson.
I thought this was an interesting horse at a big price in here. Last time got it done against Lesser, but I thought it wasn't impossible.
Philo Beto at 22-1 off since April of last year.
Yeah, 11-month layoff for this one. Has back form that's good enough, though.
Mean Jakey's Steve Asmussen takes off the hands of Robertino Diodoro. Reclaims.
Yeah, no, I agree. Diodoro only had the horse for 1 start. Race 2 backs fast enough.
Muggsy Malone, Cipriano Contreras, second off the claim.
Has going back. I like turnbacks, so you know I'm always interested in turnbacks. So I give this one an extra look.
Speed, it just missed in a similar level on a wet track last start, Peaceful Street.
This horse is just supposed to win. I'm not running the window to bet even monies, but these kind for Diodoro are tough.
We won't let you cut in line either. JK doesn't allow it. Wesleyan, 41-1.
Only he can. Well, my sister would be betting Wesleyan, but other than that, I can't recommend.
Grapnel, back-to-back third-place finishes.
Yeah, I mean, the recent form isn't that bad. I didn't think he was quite good enough, but I don't think he's out of it.
And Atris at 48-1.
Source needs Rob Atris. How's he let this one go? Claim your namesake.
I know, you got to keep that one in the barn. Title Shot outside, 6-1 here. Ricardo Santana Jr.
I thought Title Shot was a very interesting horse. I mean, this is a race that figures to have an possibly intense pace. There are a lot of speeds in here, and Title Shot feels like the one true closer in here. So at 6-1, I'm going to lose a couple bucks.
Back at Tampa for a moment in the stretch, everyone was starting to rip up their tickets. Surly Furious looked like he was about to do something crazy to this field, and then Skippy Longstocking kicked into gear under Arad Ortiz Jr. and sails home under Saffie Joseph Jr. OBS sales grad with the 5th win of his career. Great crowd on hand on a big day at Tampa Bay Downs, and this horse, gotta think Saffie Joseph Jr. expecting him to be a major player in the older horse division this year. Goes off at 1-2. Tax Surly Furious, wind up 2nd and 3rd. Let's go to Acacia.
So pleased to be joined by winning trainer Saffie Joseph as Skippy Longstocking gets back to the winner's circle. Saffie, after his huge effort to back in a disappointing Pegasus, how rewarding to see what he did today?
I mean, very rewarding. Obviously, the Pegasus has worked out to be a super key race. Everything that's run back from that race has basically won or run lights out. So that's one of the reasons for choosing this race today.
He seems to be a horse that kind of wears it on his sleeve when he's doing well, and the way that he comes into the race marching around the paddock, and that was him today.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, he's just a hard-trying horse. Like last year, we threw a really hard campaign at him, and after that, we freshened him up, and he's carried a lot more weight since then. And just really, really proud of the horse because he's a hard-trying horse. He's probably not a true Grade 1 horse. I would hope one day that we could win the right kind of Grade 1 with him, just because he deserves that. But he tries every time we put him in the race, basically.
You're running 2 today in the Tampa Bay Derby. I wanted to ask about Lord Miles, who took a lot of money in the Holy Bull. Blinkers coming off today. Can you tell me about that decision?
Yeah, in the Mucho Macho Man, he ran kind of in different race. He was up there, dropped back, and then ran on and thought blinkers would work. Irad worked him. He thought he worked good in blinkers. He's a very good training horse. The Holy Bull was a very disappointing result. There's no two ways to look about it. That's one of the reasons we're giving him another try today. It's hard after that kind of performance to have a ton of confidence, but I think if he runs his race, he's very capable.
Well, good luck later. Congratulations here, Saffie.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Could be a big day for the Saffie Joseph Jr. barn, and a hard-trying horse indeed is Skippy Longstocking, Greg.
No question, and that was Lord Miles she was asking him about. He's going to have the rail in that Tampa Bay Derby.
I was busy on Twitter there, okay? I'm just...
You're a busy man, I get it.
Yeah, listen, I mean, they're all taking a shot. I think so many horses are in the same boat in the Tampa Bay Derby in that they're hoping the Tampa Trace doesn't show up. And it's okay. There's no reason not to. It's that old saying, I think it was Alan Jerkins, and maybe he wasn't the first to say it, you never skip a race because of one horse. And they're Triple Crown races. They're trying to get preps for the points for the Kentucky Derby. We'll see where they go, but at this point, they're all competing for second.
That's the 11th on this card today on that Triple Crown trail. 12-1 morning line, Lord Miles for Saffie Joseph Jr. as we head back to Oaklawn. Low visibility.
What's going on there?
Yeah, not easy.
Is there a barbecue? Maybe Paul could
Not
help
easy
us out
for
here.
Jim Byers. Paulie might have been cooking some steaks. This race, 6 furlong sprint coming up. Can you look past this 6-5 favorite, Paulie?
Well, I think I can look past it, and I think what you guys are thinking, it's just a steady mist going on right now, and it kind of the clouds are low and a little bit of fog, so supposedly some more rain's going to be coming. You look at the 7 in here in Peaceful Street. You know, when she came back, you know, Robertino put her in a spot that was probably impossible just to set her up because she was already a horse that, you know, they paid $37,000 for. So, you know, the $30,000 drop last time, I mean, she got ripped at the wire and she did all the running. So if you look at this level, she's almost 3 for 3. So is she the one to beat? Yes, but there is so much speed in here, and Andy and I are going to lose money on the same horse. Every horse in here needs the lead besides the 6, Muggsy Malone, who's going to be cutting back. Mean Jakey, maybe the 5, can make some ground up late for Keith Asmussen and Steve. But Title Shot, to me, is the only closer in here. I understand the horse breaks bad. I wouldn't mind it. I think this is going to be a hellacious pace duel. I don't even know if the 7 can get to the front. If the 7 does get to the front, obviously the horse is going to be dangerous. Someone's going to have to run him down. But I have a feeling that this horse is going to have to be used up to get there. So, Andy, You and I on the 12. I guess 2 negatives make a positive.
I want to be on horses Paulie likes at Oaklawn. He's been on fire the entire meet.
He really has.
And I think, I think what we saw, Paulie, one of the reasons we agree is it's kind of a little obvious, but he's not a short price in here. There's going to be a lot. This race, I will be shocked if there isn't some hitting up front.
Post parade left-hand side of your screen, as you see there from Aqueduct, already up to the 9. Game Theory was the outside post. Big long shot in that race. The favorite at Aqueduct, even money on the 7, Cupid's Girl. I'm sorry, 5-2 on the 3, Charlie Rood.
I like
too many screens up here.
I like Charlie Rood as well. I agree. I was having trouble figuring out what TV. It's an Oaklawn where the favorite is even money, the 7.
Jim Byers the call. Yeah, the 7 here, the short price favorite for Robertino Diodoro, Peaceful Street.
Peaceful Street out well. So was Philo Beto. And those two, along with Mean Jakey, move out to the front end. Up toward the outside comes Wesleyan racing in 4th. And then it's Muggsy Malone just inside of that one in 5th. Atris to the outside 6th. Length and a half then. And Lansdowne is racing in 7th. Followed by Grapnel, 8th on the outside, about 7 lengths from the lead. Sissaway Now is another length back. And then it is 3 or 4 lengths farther back to Red Label. And Title Shot is last of all as the 11 circle the far turn. Up front, Peaceful Street drives to the lead. Wesleyan is racing 2nd. Peaceful Street is in the 3 path here. Then Wesleyan, and here comes Mean Jakey gaining right through on the inside. And they straighten away in the upper stretch. And it's Peaceful Street confronted here by Mean Jakey on the inside. Coming from behind, Grapnel. Inside of that one is Lansdowne. Peaceful Street all out. Mean Jakey is next. And Lansdowne, one last surge on the outside. Very close to the wire. Lansdowne or Peaceful Street, then Mean Jakey, and Grapnel 4th.
I don't know. We got to take another look. Peaceful Street, the heavy favorite. The 2 Lansdowne in a photo finisher in the 5th.
It takes me a while to learn my lessons, but one thing I know, I'm not calling photos at Oaklawn. Yes, it absolutely looks like the 2 got up, but we've seen some awfully funny results, so it looks like on the pan, that look very different. We'll wait for the slow-mo. They usually show a slow-mo that'll give us a better idea. It did feel like the number 2 was it?
Yeah, Lansdowne
got up. But.
Well, it's either 14-1 on the 2 or 6-5 on the 7. One more look at it. Obviously, that late momentum with the 2, but was it in time?
I'm not trying to call photos because it's a terrible angle on the pan shot they show, which is an odd situation, and they have a slow-mo camera they normally would have shown by now. I'm wondering if they're going to show it, Greg. Strange.
We're going to have it for you when we come back from a timeout. Nothing posted as of yet. We'll be back. Late pick 4.
2 got up.
2 did.
Spun to Run. In the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he defeated a loaded field that included multiple Grade 1 winners Omaha Beach and Improbable. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, Breeders' Cup champion, Spun to Run, standing at Gainesway.
We are back. Tight finish at Oaklawn. It goes to the upset. Lansdowne, the upsetter here, 14-1, beating the 6-5 favorite in this photo. Francisco Arrieta, Tammy Hornsby, owned by Mike Dunn. As we get you back to New York, while this price is coming out momentarily, 7th here in New York. And it's, again, the 3, Charlie Roode, Michael McCarthy, Manny Franco, 7-5 favorite on the sloppy going.
I picked Charlie Roode, and now drips down to 6-5, but there's no way I would bet this horse at this price. Comes in from Turfway because Michael McCarthy, who trains the horse, doesn't want to run the horse in synthetic and doesn't really have a lot of options. Did not run great as the favorite 2 back here, but probably met better horses. I prefer this one over the 5 Big Bean Christine, but not at 6-5.
Big number for the favorite in that maiden win. That was at Churchill back in November, that 80 buyer when she was dominant. And now synthetic back to dirt. Manny Franco aboard, had a 5-win day earlier this week.
Yeah, yesterday. Seems like longer ago, doesn't it?
Was it yesterday?
Yeah, we only raced one other day this week, Greg.
30-60, by the way, on Lansdowne. Got a lot going on.
I'm with you. Believe me, I'm the one looking at Twitter when the camera comes on, so you don't have to apologize to me.
Seems like a week ago. Chris Griffin with the call, 7th from Aqueduct. Again, the 3, Charlie Roode, the 6-5 favorite.
Cupid's Girl is now moving forward. 2 out. Try it again. Game Theory will be last to load. Game Theory goes in. All in line. All set. And they're off. Speed towards the outside from Try It Again is sprinting clear, and also in the early mix is going to be JD Advantage, and they fly up front. It's a pace duel on the front end, and joining them will be Charlie Roode at the rail. Manny Franco holding that position, and in tight will be Big Bean. Christine is going to shuffle back to 4th. Up on her outside comes Cupid's Girl, who's tracking in the 5th spot. Game Theory is going to be wide, and the trailer is Bella Principessa, but plenty of pace to chase as they continue to duke it out up front. 23.31. It was a measured opening quarter, but it was pressured. Charlie Roode is trying to hold the rail position in between horses. JD Advantage and Try It Again at 10-1 is up by a half length. Now Big Bean, Christine, and Jorge Vargas Jr. They've got off the rail. They're going to be 4 wide as they approach. A quarter mile left to go. Doing it easily enough right now. It's still Try It Again, and Try It Again has the lead at the top of the stretch, has not been asked yet, and Try It Again now gets the cue. Continue to chase down to the inside is Charlie Roode, and here comes Big Bean Christine. Big Bean Christine is in full pursuit now, and here she comes on the outside. It is Big Bean Christine to Try It Again. Big Bean Christine, Try It Again is not done to the inside, is coming right back. Big Bean Christine, Try It Again. Big Bean Christine gets the score over Try It Again. Then came that late run from Bella Principessa and Charlie Roode in 1 minute 12.76 seconds.
Happy connections there. Big Bean Christine showed some fight, out dueling Try It Again here.
You know, she did not get the best of trips in her last start, and she just got the right trip today. Jorge Vargas did a very good job getting position, angling out and get it done. Big improvement from the number 8, Try It Again, who beat a much weaker field here. And Marcelo Arenas did a nice job off the claim, riding this horse back in just 6 days. She almost got it done. Really nothing from Charlie Roode, who didn't do any real running of meaning here. Nice performance. And Ray Handel assured me, I was talking about this horse dogging horses, he said she'll run well today, so she did.
She certainly did it. 4-1, 5-8-2-3. In the 7th, as we get back to Tampa Bay Downs. And a race that's going to kick off the cross-country pick 5. 1 1/8 on the grass, grade 2, Hillsborough. Here's one of 3 in the race for Chad Brown, California Queen.
Yeah, she's probably the least likely of them, but she's still a pretty talented runner in her own right. It just feels like she's just a little cut below, but huge price, right?
Huge price. Anything from that barn, beware. Here's Surprisingly, who stepped forward for Shug McGahee last time out and won the Grade 3 Endeavor.
Got a contentious pace to close into last time and beat a subpar field. She'd have to take another big step forward.
7-year-old mare who is very good, but maybe wants a little longer.
Yeah, it just feels like Brennan Walsh is using this for a prep, probably a longer race at Keeneland in April, but she is a very cool horse.
Rougier for Chad Brown.
I've never been Rougier's biggest fan, but she will run better with Lasix. That's important.
Gam's Mission returns for her 5-year-old debut.
I'm a big Gam's Mission fan with those Forgo Silks.
Shanna Sark, she opened at 1-5. She's 3-5 right now for Chad Brown.
If she runs her last race or any of her couple races last year, she's going to win this race. She's trying to get back on track here.
And Scottish star Todd Pletcher, beat by surprisingly last time out.
She's the speed and the clear speed, but she's got to get 9 furlongs, and she's got to do it against an army of tougher horses than she met last time.
Cross country, pick 5. Once again, it starts right here. You can find it on the NyraBets app, Cross Country P5. This will begin it. Then the Florida Oaks. Third leg, the correction with Rosa Veloce. Then it's the Tampa Bay Derby and the Azeri to close things out. Get started here in just a few moments. Let's go to JK to see how he played it.
Wolfie, you know I love a pick 5, and you know I love a cross-country pick 5. You get to kind of highlight across the country the best races, and that's what we get to do here to get started in leg 1. I like Rougier getting to the Lasix like Andy mentioned, but I'm going to use a couple of more. I'm going to use the 3, 4, and 6. I have to use Temple City Terror. I agree. The distance seems a little bit questionable, but she's a really, really talented racehorse. I have a hard time ignoring her. In the second leg, I'm going to go 3, 10, 11. If you're on a budget, I think you could maybe skip the 3 Alpha Bella. I wanted to have a horse that was tactical. I think the winner comes between the 10 Free Look and the 11 Grace Darling. And then I'm going to wrap this thing up in a very fun way. Single, single, single. The 1, Rosa Veloce. The 6, Tap It Trice. And the 3, my best bet of the day, Clary Air.
2-time Grade 1 winner. Back for her 5-year-old return, Clary Air, in that Grade 2 Azeri. We can't wait for it. Meanwhile, it has been odds-on throughout the wagering on this mare right here for Chad Brown, Shanna Sara.
I think the negative with her is she obviously got hurt in her comeback race last year with a terrific second to Regal Glory. She didn't run well in her return when she ran on the Breeders' Cup Undercard. But I thought her last race was a huge step in the right direction. Queen Goddess really ran extremely well shipping in from California in that race, but she was getting to her late. I mean, I like the fact that she's not just sucking up. Look at her. She really starts to kick in. Now, she was second best. The winner ran the best race. The winner was terrific in there. But she put a lot of distance on the others, ran a big figure, and I just think she may be better than these horses. She's 4-5. I thought the horse that I backed up with, I used 5 and 6 in the pick 5 in the cross country. I thought the Gam's Mission's an interesting horse. She's run some good races. She has trouble staying on the racetrack, but I thought she might have a little upside if she can stay on the track.
Chad Brown with 3 of the 7, including the 4-5 favorite. Let's go to Lafitte and Acacia for more.
Yeah, at the top of the show, we discussed the domination of Todd Pletcher in the Tampa Bay Derby. But Chad Brown and what he's done in the Hillsborough over the years, 5 wins, working on a 6. And it's not just the wins, it's who he's won this race with. And you go back and look at Zagora, Stephanie's Kitten, eventual Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf winners, Rimska, 4-star Crook, Bleecker Street, Acacia. 4 of those 5 after winning here went on to capture a Grade 1 win that year. And Brown is back with a serious contingent this year.
And it feels like Bleecker Street was the one to kind of break the myth that Chad starts the lesser horses at Tampa Bay Downs, because you saw what she did. You saw the tremendous tear that she went on. He comes in with 3 in this race here today. Shanna Sara, the favorite after a big effort last time out, and she has a lot of quality. She's a Grade 1 winner in her own right. She finished second behind Queen Goddess last time out. She handled herself really nicely out there. One of the classier fillies in this group as far as the preliminaries do go.
Looking at Rogier for Chad Brown, all set for her 2023 debut. Last year, 22. Not a bad place to start. Tampa Bay Downs. Look at the names on that list. Nest, champion. Classic Causeway, Bleecker Street, In Italian, Gino Romantica, many of them trained by Chad Brown. Cheryl Spite, Cody's Wish, all of them eventual Grade 1 winners that began their campaign right here at Tampa Bay Downs. I'm not saying Rogier belongs to that company, but she herself a Grade 1 winner and all set for her first start in 23.
And she is coming in to go 1 mile and an eighth. She's one that can get pretty keyed up prior to her races. She was very relaxed today. I cannot say the same thing for California Queen. They had to finish saddling her on the walk back in the paddock. She was trying to rear up. She's been really on edge on the track. She got a big warm-up from Edgar Zayas. And she is the quickest early of the 3 Chad Brown runners in a race where there's not much pace.
I asked Chad Brown, is she a rabbit? Is she here to heat up the pace and keep Scottish Star busy? He said no, she's here on her own merit. So we'll see how it all unfolds early on with California Queen at 21-1. Acacia, you were in the paddock and watching Scottish Star. What exactly took place?
It's interesting because she was really, really tricky to get the tack on as well, and she actually flipped over in the saddling stall.
Wow.
There's different rules, racetrack by racetrack in New York. From what I saw, I would imagine it would be an automatic scratch. She is running after being examined by the veterinarian. It would just be very tough for me to recommend a horse that I saw that happen to in the paddock. She was a little bit better once they got the tack on and got her out of the saddling stalls, but I did notice between last time and today, she's a little bit more of a nervous type. So I'm going to take the wait and see as far as Scottish Star's approach.
The controlling speed on paper. We'll see if she can shake it off. Scottish Star, 4 trainer Todd Pletcher, Luis Saez in the saddle, Tappet Trice teaming up here in the Hillsborough. Temple City Terror pictured it 8-1. It feels like this mile and an 8 distance, maybe a little bit too sharp actually for her Acacia.
She's so cool. I'm a fan of this mare, a 7-year-old mare by Temple City. She had back-to-back graded stakes wins in the fall of last year, and I would imagine this is a starting point for trainer Brendan Walsh to get her going and get her ready for some of those longer races down the line. But she looked terrific coming back. Her weight was great. Her coat was great. She looked like she really did well on her winter holiday coming back here. And if you go back and watch the Long Island once again, she had an amazing turn of foot, an amazing acceleration. Once again, though, she is a horse that can be a bit of a victim to pace, and we have seen the longer the better with Temple City Terror.
Never better. Never better. Temple City Terror. We'll see how she handles the mile and an 8 in terms of that late kick and whether she has enough real estate to work with. Chad Brown also mentioning with Rugier and Shantasara, they had to prove to him that they were ready for another campaign to stay in training. After last year, discussion of potentially retiring. He says, let me take a look. Let me watch them over the winter, both giving him the indication, specifically Rugier with her last 3 breezes, giving him the indication that she's still interested going out there and doing her job in the afternoon.
And you would think that's a big vote of confidence for a mare like Rugier, for Peter Brandt and Michael Tabor, who I'm sure have plans to breed her, and a very high-profile mating, I would imagine, down the line. She's a Group 1 winner in France, and she's a Grade 1 winner in Canada, I should say, with the E.P. Taylor. But a tremendous campaign she's put together. I want to give a quick mention to Gam's Mission. As Andy mentioned, she's tough to keep on the track. She got very, very hot today. That's not out of character for her.
At the gate, filing in, Chad Brown, 5-time Hillsborough winning trainer, looking for a 6th. All set. Post time for the Hillsborough. Jason Beam standing by.
She goes up and in. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Hillsborough Stakes. Good start toward the inside, surprisingly out quickly. Scottish Star up from the outside. Shantasara also forwardly placed, but Scottish Star and Shantasara, those are the 2 that go on best. Scottish Star leads them after a furlong. Shantasara out in second. Surprisingly down toward the inside. California Queen in a bit tight there, passed by Temple City Terror, Rugier, and Gam's Mission at the back early on as they bend into the stretch with 7 furlongs left to go. It's Scottish Star up front, leads at a length and a half to Shantasara. Under a good hold in that second position. Temple City Terror was out third. Surprisingly joins her to the inside in fourth. Then comes Rugier in fifth. California Queen alongside that stablemate in sixth. And Gam's Mission still the trailer. 5.5 furlongs left to go in the Hillsborough after 24-1 opening quarter mile. Everything gone the way of Scottish Star thus far. Scottish Star on the back stretch, clear by 2. To Shantasara in second. A length and a half more to the team of Temple City Terror, surprisingly. They've been together much of the journey. They continue third and fourth. That opening half in 48 2/5 seconds. Scottish Star continues on to the half-mile pole. The lead is still 2. Shantasara stalking intently from second. Temple City Terror, surprisingly, they're third and fourth. Rugier is fifth, going to be 3 deep as they run toward that far turn. Gam's Mission is out of last. California Queen now at the back. The 7 of them cover just 4 lengths as they go into the far turn. Scottish Stars made every yard. Shantasara cruising up a little bit closer now from second. Temple City Terror giving the cue out 3 deep. Gam's Mission starting to wind up on the outside. Down along the fence, surprisingly just going to need some room. Scottish Star is still just in front. Shantasara up on the outside. Those 2 by the 3/16. Surprisingly dives toward the inside. In behind Temple City Terror, Rugier going to look for a seam down at the fence. Final 16th to go. Shantasara just in front. Digging in, Scottish Star is second. Shantasara, Scottish Star, surprisingly down the outside. Shantasara and Irad going clear, though, going to win the Hillsborough, a length and a half. Second was close. Might have been Scottish Star over, surprisingly. It is a photo there for second.
Victory number 6 for Chad Brown in the Hillsborough. Shantasara, the favorite, delivers emphatically, and a third win in the afternoon for jockey Irad Ortiz, and make it 2 stakes wins for Ortiz thus far.
And he saved a little bit when he got to the wire, too. He was not even asking her class prevailing in here, and I'm sure he wants to save a bit moving forward. She's got bigger fish to fry down the line for this year, and obviously a big effort today from her. A big effort as well from Scottish Star. I was pessimistic given what I saw back in the paddock. You have to be concerned with those sorts of things, but she ended up being the lone speed. No effort early on from California Queen, or really anybody, to try and take it to her.
Shook off those cobwebs, ran well, and it was just too much Shantasara in the end. I asked Brown if all went well today, what kinds of races might we see her in later on this spring and the summer, and quickly pointed out the Diana Saratoga, Grade 1 New York. So a solid start to a brand new campaign for Shantasara, second start this year actually, and as you mentioned, bigger fish to fry moving forward. Shantasara and a 6th Hillsborough victory for Chad Brown. 6-7-2-3 results. Reaction when we come back.
Tampa Bay Downs has a rich thoroughbred horse racing history in Florida dating back to 1926. Celebrities such as Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, and John Ringling all attended opening day. In 1981, Hall of Fame jockey Julie Crone won her first career race here, and in 2007, we saw Street Sense win the Tampa Bay Derby and go on later that year to win the Kentucky Derby. Featuring full fields, great turf racing, and a 15% takeout on our Pick 5, Tampa Bay Downs is live racing every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
We are back. So's the Gator. America's Day at the Races.
Day for him, the Gator. Think he knows?
Loves to play the cross-country Pick 5.
Yeah, he's definitely in. You think he singled Shantasara?
I think he did.
He looks happy.
Might have swallowed her, too.
Smile.
Naira Bets, you can play it all. Go to nairabets.com. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Time for a dip. Shantasara, impressive. In great position early under Irad Ortiz Jr.
Yeah, obviously Irad knew he was riding the best horse. And he said, I'm not going to get beat because I'm going to let the 7 walk in the front end. And, you know, we talked about the 7, and Acacia mentioned an instant in the paddock. Well, she ran very, very well. She had the run of the race, but she still ran well in here. Shantasara is just too good for her. And it's nice to see her back. Have to imagine the Jenny Wiley, which she finished second last year. The Grade 1 at Keeneland will be the next start.
Yeah, that was a narrow defeat to her stablemate, Regal Glory.
She was pretty good, Regal Glory.
Oh, yeah.
She win the champ? Did she win, or did Italian win the Clipswood? I don't even know. I know, I have no idea, but they're both brand horses. They ran one, too. I can't remember. Can you?
So, cross-country Pick 5, we'll look it up, begins with Shantasara for those some. Tried to get coverage here.
Listen, I get it. You know, last year I was saying on this day it was a very chalky pick 5, cross-country pick 5, and it paid like 3 times the parlay.
Back to Oaklawn. Race 6 is next, and this kicks off their late pick 5. 2-turn mile, maiden special weight. 9-5 favorite, classic cut. A first-timer for Brad Cox. We'll get to that one. We start with Kingdom.
Watched Kingdom's race last time. Thought ran a little bit with a wide trip. Maybe improved second time out, stretching out. Good numbers, I think, for the Asmussen barn doing this.
Yeah, it took some money, too, first time out for Asmussen. Quality Chic, the 2. Start number 2 for Kenny McPeak.
Goes from synthetic to dirt. We'll see if that works out for Kenny McPeak. Interestingly enough, this horse was bred by Peter Brandt's White Birch Farm. Surprised to see him sell this one. Wonder if that's a negative.
Major Blue, 4-1 for D. Wayne Lucas.
Boy, I thought this horse ran well last time and was a very logical horse at a good price right now. Regal Glory won. Unless Kinchin knew. At least one of us is on top.
Woody's Choice, blinkers on, and a new gelding.
This would be an upset.
33-1. Yes, it would. Actually, coming out of a restricted maiden special. Right. Here's Southern Sunset, Kenny McPeak as well.
Did run second debut and earned too good a figure to be 15-1, but is moving up from maiden's claimers.
Yeah, DQ'd in that race from second to third as well. First-time starter, big price here with the 6.
Yeah, no money for this one.
Tahoe Run, we will see next. 3 seconds and 6 starts.
I'm sorry, why is this horse 13-1? What is wrong with this horse? This horse's race 2 back will beat this field.
Yeah, second to Funny Uncle.
I'm completely baffled.
Finished ahead of Mount Craig, who actually ran a very big race that day, but I know he's been a bit of a disappointment. Simovic, Don Von Hemel.
The big fig 2 back was in the mud and then didn't run it and now stretches out.
Classic cut. Here's the first timer for Brad Cox.
Are they all runners, or is this my racehorse money? I'd be betting against, but probably burn me.
Imperial Shadow. Martin Villafranco. Imperial Shadow.
I'm going to say Imperial Shadow. I'm going to go with that one. You were close, Greg. You did better than I would have with one time. Long shot.
Tejas, first time out gun runner for Steve Asmussen and Winchell Thoroughbreds.
Dan was okay, actually. Thought this horse was a little interesting.
And Run Poppy, 10-1 on the outside. 2 sprints, now stretches out.
Yeah, they were restricted races, took a ton of money, didn't run now, switches to Riley Mott and draws a lousy post off the layoff. I think the 7 is a crazy overlay here. I don't know what Paul and Jonathan think, but wow, I don't get it.
15-1, yeah, on the 7.
Just seems like a crazy price, right?
Let's head back to Tampa. Shanna Sara, impressive in victory. 3 today for Arad Ortiz Jr. Let's go to Acacia for more.
So pleased to be joined by co-owner Bob LaPenta. Shanta Sara comes back with a big effort. Has to be very exciting because I know that Chad said she had to prove to come back this year, and she showed she was ready for it.
You know, she runs in every race. She had a little bit of a layoff, a little bit of a disappointment at Keeneland, but she ran great today. And we think she's on the upward move right after this.
And I do agree, and you saw that from her last year. She seemed to get better with each race.
Yeah, she's very strong. Not the biggest horse in the world, but a lot of heart.
You have Shesterkin coming up in the Tampa Bay Derby, too. Tell us about the decision to run.
You know, Shesterkin, we know who he is, right? And I think this horse has a lot of talent, and we're putting him in here because I think of this group, he should be very competitive. And we'll see after this race what the road ahead will be. We'll see.
Was it you that picked the name?
It was, yeah. Me and my racing manager, John Panagot.
Well, we love it.
He's a big Ranger fan.
I know that for sure. Best of luck and congratulations on
Thank you so much. Great day. Thanks so much.
A great day and could be just getting better, Greg.
Shesterkin, obviously, Igor Shesterkin, goalie for the Rangers, so going to get a lot of New York love in that Tampa Bay Derby.
And I went to one Ranger game this year, and I saw John Panagot, his stable manager, also the agent for Manny Franco at that Ranger game. And there's Bob, and of course Bob, who's had Catholic Boy, but also had a lot of success with Nick Zito over the years as well. Greg loves Catholic Boy. No, nothing brings a smile to Greg Wolf's face like a mention of Catholic Boy.
3 worst defeats of my horse racing career, 3 of top 10 for sure. Back to Oaklawn, race 6 here coming up. This maiden special weight, 2-turn mile. It's still, well, now 5-2 favoritism on the first timer for Brad Cox. Empire Maker, first time starter with Florent Giroux. Paulie, what can you give us?
To get back to Catholic Boy, let's go to the other side. Poor Analyze It. They kept on getting re-rallied on by Catholic Boy. Race number 6 in here. Hold on. Jim Byers announces a scratch. Number 6, Mayor's Gunner has been scratched. So here's a horse that's 48-1. So, I mean, a first-time starter that we really didn't know much about. When you get into this race, you know, the 9, obviously, for Brad Cox, a first-time starter, is taking the money. But, you just don't know, right? It's sort of been set up of a crapshoot. Some of them have run, some have not. I will tell you this. When it comes to the pick 3 Will Pays, the 3 is right on this horse's tail. And this horse ran a good race last time, and I thought the morning line at 12-1, nothing against Michelle, but you're getting Tyler Gaffleone aboard now for Dwayne Lucas, whose horses have been running well, and I would think that this horse will get forwardly placed or could sit in a pocket spot in here. And then the other horse, the 2 Quality Chic or Chick, you know, Kenny Peak's horses are running. I thought they've been running well throughout the meet, in at least the last couple. And again, if you want to try to beat this Brad Cox firster, I also thought the McLean Robertson horse, the one that Andy thought. I mean, all 3 of those horses to me could beat that horse. It's just a 1-number horse to me. And I'll tell you right now, the money that the 3 Major Blue is taking here with Tyler Gaffleone and the coach, when Mr. Lucas takes money, they usually run.
Yeah, it's Major Blue, the 3 at Oaklawn. Meanwhile, left-hand side of your screen, post parade coming up, 8th at Aqueduct. It is a 1-turn mile, first-level allowance condition, Celestial Moon. Bill Mott will kick things off.
Yeah, did win in a sealed track last time. That's a race that I don't think is as good as the 90 buyer suggests. We'll see.
Again, we're talking left-hand side of the screen at Aqueduct here for the post parade. That's majority partner of the 2.
I like majority partner. Thought he was the speed. He's in good form for Linda Rice. He's my top pick.
He's won 3 of his last 4. Reserve Currency, the 4.
Like the 1 coming off a maiden win, but the horse he beat that was second last time came back with a win yesterday and got an improved buyer figure and ran well.
86 buyer in that win for the 5 Looney Sema.
I didn't think he was quite good enough. Out of respect to my friend David Aragona, I'm throwing him in.
Shipsational, he was 3rd in last year's Tampa Bay Derby.
But I want the horse that was 4th out of that race because it was a fast pace, in my opinion, that collapsed.
Patient Capital went by the 7.
Yeah, he's the one I think you want out of that race, or at least I do.
And then 6% on the outside, Jeremiah Englehart with Kendrick Carmouche.
I didn't think that he was impossible in this race, getting back to what he was successful at, 2-back, wet track, going at 1-turn mile.
All right, we'll return to New York in a bit. We're going to catch this race here from Oaklawn first. Again, pick 5 starts here. Talked about all the – we know how Jonathan's just gushing over Clairiere. If you were playing this pick 5, how would you play that race as part of it?
Well, I play the cross-country pick 5. I'm alive. I use Chantasara. I use 3. I used Secret Oath, I used Clairiere, and I also used Interstate Daydream. I love Clairiere. As you know, I'm a big fan of hers and have been since her 2-year-old year. I don't think that she's going to be cranked up for this race. She may win because she's too good, but I think that Secret Oath's the one that Wayne's going to really be looking to get her back on the right track. So I won't be surprised if she upsets her today, and I'm never surprised when Brad Cox does well. In my heart, I always root for Clairiere. I just have I really like her, but I don't have as confident as Jonathan.
That's still to come in that Distaff division. Grade 2 Azeri. Dwayne Lucas sending out last year's Kentucky Oaks winner. Secret Oath. He's got the favorite here, Major Blue, the 3, with Tyler Gaffleone. Start number 3 for this son of Flatter, I should say. Let's go to Jim Byers for the call.
And the last to load is Run Puppy. They're in the gate. And they're off. Off to a perfect start. Run Poppy in gear early from the outside to try to get into position. Major Blue was out well. Woody's Choice is racing in 3rd. And then to the inside, it's Kingdom in 4th. Simovich is 5th. Followed by, from between horses, Southern Sunset, who's racing 6th. Right at the rail, Quality Chic is 7th. While the first-time starter Classic Cut is in between horses toward the back end of the field and is just inside of Tejas and is just outside of Tahoe Run. And then it's way, way back to Imperial Shadow. A distant trailer as they advance up the backstretch, and Major Blue has established the lead for Tyler Gaffleone. Major Blue with the lead by a length to Woody's Choice. Run Poppy on the outside has been relegated to that second flight while wide. Kingdom is tucked in on the inside. Woody's Choice drops back now from a more forward position. Looking for room is Quality Chic. Simovic is still fairly well placed toward the outside, is a bit wide, but only 4 lengths back. And Southern Sunset begins to make a menacing bid. And here comes Southern Sunset gaining on the outside of Major Blue as they come to the head of the short stretch. Major Blue with the lead by a length to Southern Sunset. Kingdom on the inside. Then Quality Chic, Simovic, Tejas on the extreme outside. Furlong to go, coming to the first finish line. And Major Blue leads the way. Steering around is Southern Sunset. He had to go inside of Major Blue. Major Blue, Southern Sunset. Major Blue wins at a half to Southern Sunset, Kingdom, and Quality Chic.
Nice to get on the board for the before the big one for D. Wayne Lucas. Does here with Major Blue.
This horse did run well last time out. No reason not to think this horse was logical today, and switched to Gaffleone.
All right, back to New York. Race 8 is coming up. Minute to post. 5-2 favorite, the 7 Patient Capital. JK, what do you have for us?
I'm going to try to throw you a couple of winners here. We got 3 races coming up. Aqueduct race 8, the 6 Shipsational, which is I don't know why. I should have prepped to say that word better. Shipsational. Very sneaky. It's a horse that's always shown some talent, but then just kind of got a little bit, He seems to have kind of figured it out. Tampa race 10, the 10 free look. And then at Oaklawn, when we get back there in about 25 minutes, race 7, number 7, Tiger Moon. Maggie? How are you?
I'm okay. I like Celestial Moon here. I just love everything about this horse. Physicality, the way he moves. I know that race might not be as good as it looks on paper, but I'm taking another shot with him. He's one I've been a fan of. As number 5, Looney Sema, I didn't really like going in here, but this horse has really improved over the winter, which is hard to do, to improve your conditioning and your coat, and he has done that, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Last to load in, that 9, 6%. See the analyst selections there. We're set for the 8th. Did you want to add something?
No, I like the 2 and 7. I like the 2 majority partner. I think that 7 horse Patient Capital ran very well last time. I thought they were the right 2, and I wanted one of them.
Chris Griffin, the call. Here's race 8 from Aqueduct.
All set. And they're off. Broken a very even line. Down towards the inside, it's Majority Partner who's got early speed. In between horses, Looney Sema is right there as well. And up on the far outside, there's Patient Capital in the early mix. It's going to be Majority Partner and Patient Capital out of the chute. It's a moderate pace early. There's 6%. Kendrick Carmouche out in the center of the racetrack is now taken third. Just losing some ground was Looney Sema. Then Shipsational, who's passed by Celestial Moon, who's now in the 5th spot. And the trailer, Reserve Currency, is encouraged to move forward from the back end of the field, is now 7 lengths the trailer. It's Majority Partner in front. Majority Partner and Jason Wyas, they're up by a neck. It's mild pressure here from Patient Capital, who's up alongside here from second. They went 23 and 2 for the opening quarter mile. 6% is driven along from third, not cutting into the margin yet. Celestial Moon is progressing at the rail as they've got less than a half mile to go. They went 46 and 4. For that half mile time, Majority Partner is still there. Patient Capital is a clear second. Celestial Moon is now in full gear, is making up some ground, is traveling there with Looney Sema as 6% starts to drop back from the back. Reserve Currency's got to go right now, is still 7 lengths. Ties the back end of the field with Shipsational. Majority Partner approaches a quarter mile left to go, is still in front, is drifting well off the rail, and Majority Partner is about to get the cue to kick for home. Patient Capital continues to pursue here up on the outside. Looney Sema's got some momentum as well. It's Majority Partner who's trying to find a final furlong here and gut it out. Celestial Moon is right there. Patient Capital starts to lunge as well. They approach the final 16th, 4 across the racetrack, and here comes Celestial Moon. Celestial Moon to the outside of Majority Partner who tries to come back. Celestial Moon, Majority Partner, Celestial Moon gets the victory over Majority Partner. Then came a tight photo there with Patient Capital and late running Reserve Currency in 1 minute 39.04 seconds.
Celestial Moon now 2 for 2 on dirt. Bill Mott, Jose Lezcano.
Yeah, he got a great ride from Jose Lezcano and just ran down Majority Partner, who I bet had no excuse here. Still kind of a tough beat, but this horse did come back and run back off the maiden win.
4-1 on Celestial Moon for his 4-year-old return to the races. At this point,
I thought I was going to cash.
Majority Partner still in front, but here comes Celestial Moon and just finds another gear.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 did all the running. That was wow, I didn't realize that was a very fast pace. This horse was extraordinarily fortunate. I didn't realize they were flying up front. This horse was very lucky to win.
Real quick, we do have an inquiry involving the second and third place finishers back at Oaklawn. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's still going on. It's 3-5-1-2, involving the 5 and 1. Does not involve your winner. There it is. Major blue, though, for D. Wayne Lucas. Tyler Gaffleone. Safe and awaiting picture time. We're going to take a timeout. Still to come. Hall of Fame trainer, Todd Pletcher. He's got the horse to beat right now on the Derby Trail with the 2-year-old Champ Forte. He may have the next big horse to beat as well with Tapit Trice. Will he get a huge performance from this $1.3 million colt? Coming up.
Whatever you use to predict future stallion success, breathe slowly and gaze at the desert's first great championship race. Curlin won it. So did Street Cry, Arrogate, and now, in a time even faster than Arrogate's, Mystic Guide. The cold hard fact is, after this, he was rated the best horse in the world. Mystic Guide. New to Darley.
Bet the racing action at Aqueduct, Oaklawn, and Santa Anita to score a $15 bonus each Sunday in March. Bet $50 on each track to take home $15, win or lose. Opt in at NyraBets.com.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races. This is a little parasailing, I believe, on Jamaica Bay.
Wow, that's nice. That's got to be a, wow, that's impressive. You'll see people, do you see people ever on the subway coming out here with surfboards? You'll see it, yeah, it's kind of interesting actually.
Cold water's out here. I'll pass things.
You'll see more in April. It gets a little bit better.
Program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Back to New York, Celestial Moon. Switch to dirt. It's been a positive move here. 2 wins and 2 starts.
No question about it. This horse belonged on dirt all the time. Got an absolutely beautiful trip here and a beautiful ride to just get the money over a very tough luck loser, majority partner, who did all of the dirty work in this race and just got nailed in the last strides.
Here's a look at the winning move.
Yeah. Just, with Jose, he waited and waited and waited. They were drifting. He said, I don't want to go inside. You have to almost appreciate the apprentice drifting out. And Jose waited and got through and made that late run and got it done. Perfect trip.
So Celestial Moon ended his 3-year-old campaign with a dirt debut victory on and off track. It was good that day. Comes right back as a 4-year-old in his debut. Wins on the sloppy going here in New York. Pays $10 for that victory. 1-2-7 in race 8. The feature coming up next in the correction, which we will get to. They did make a change, by the way, at Oaklawn between the second and third place finishers. Swapped them. 5 came in a little bit on the 1 down in the stretch. So new order finish 3-1-5-2.
Yep, but Major Blue, Wayne Lucas, he's hoping it's not his final trip to the winner's circle today at Oaklawn. He's got some bigger fish to fry coming up in race number. Oh, I just realized who's running in the 7th race at Oaklawn. The Great Barber Road. You got to be excited about that. I know you're his biggest fan.
I'm very excited. John Ortiz expecting big things from him. Of course, you're alluding to Secret Oath. Kentucky Oaks winner for D. Wayne still to come in the Grade 2 Azeri. Nice to get on the board, though, before the big one, certainly in Major Blue, with a big performance here in start number 3.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to get Tyler Gaffalione. No knock on the prior rider, but Tyler, one of the better riders in the country, comes in and gets the victory. So he, too, has some bigger fish to fry a little later today.
We're going to take a timeout. Stay with us. Back to Tampa after this Grade 3 Florida Oaks. 3-year-old fillies on the turf. When we return, and surprise, surprise, the favorite at 9-5, Chad Brown, debuting 3-year-old filly Free Look. Come back after with Irad Ortiz Jr.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Got the Grade 3 Florida Oaks coming up next, and here's our post-parade mile, 16th on the turf. This is Mission of Joy for Graham Motion.
Yeah, she's been in pretty good form for Graham, but the water's getting a lot deeper today.
All-American Beauty. Turf debut was a win last time out for trainer Shug McGahee.
Shug McGahee had a nice 3-year-old, I should say, colt win the male division of this race earlier. Timeform US did not like the horse's last race for what it's worth. First-time starter, I think, ran second there, but I'm not sure.
There she is.
There she is. So a little slow getting there.
Into mischief. Edgar Zayas will be aboard. Got up to win by a neck in that maiden turf victory. Here's the 3 Alpha Bella Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's dangerous for Todd. Her last race was an okay one. Got a perfect trip and lost to a stablemate who had a lousy trip, but Todd horse improving.
Numbers that are not that far off some of the favorites in here. Faccia Bella.
Yeah, but I think the going got a lot tougher for her today. I prefer others.
First time on turf, dreaming of snow.
I actually used this one in my pick 5 because she's got a little bit of turf pedigree, half a couple turf winners. She could be the main speed in here, and she's obviously got some talent on the dirt.
Navy Goat, 11-1, went by.
Yeah, would have to improve, but is going out for a good trainer, our Delacour.
28-1 here. Stephanie's Charm gets Lasix.
She would also have to improve, though she's an awfully big price.
Juniper's Moon, Anthony Dutrow went gate to wire last start.
Yeah, we liked her last time, Maggie and I, on the show, but she set a very slow pace. She would have to improve as well.
There's another one that wants to be forward, Mohawk Trail.
Yeah, I thought Mohawk Trail would need to improve dramatically. She must be a huge price.
The one to beat for Chad Brown, Free Look, 3-year-old debut coming up.
She had a bit of trouble in the Breeders' Cup. I'm a little bit on the fence as to how well she ran, but she might just be better than these horses.
Grace Darling Bryant, she won her state's debut here back in February.
Yeah, there was a race that collapsed. The second horse came from dead last in there. She does get Lasix. She's got to improve off of that win. I just doubt it happens, but you don't know. She's a bit of an unknown.
And ticker tape home the 12th. The last time on turf, she ran a big number for Mark Cassidy.
This race was 6 furlongs. I'd like her. I just don't think she's a horse that necessarily is going to be effective going long, as she has shown.
Boost your Kentucky Derby bankroll with a popular Derby bankroll builder. Win up to $100 towards the Kentucky Derby when you bet select Derby preps with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com. You have to opt into the promo. Bet $50 on today's Tampa Bay Derby, and you'll get $20 in your account. So let's take a look at the favorite, Free Look. And this was a near miss in the Grade 2 Miss Grillo, Belmont and Aqueduct.
Yeah, it was a very adept ride on the winner of this race. I think it was Irad who went to the lead here. And Free Look just wasn't able to get by her as they ran around the track together. And that was a Shug McGay horse that was winning the race. And that horse actually finished second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. So this was a solid field here. Free Look's been a talented horse. And in this race without much speed, I think you'll see her be a lot more forward here under Irad. Maybe try to give the kind of ride they gave him the last time on Shantasara. She's a talented horse. She's got to show that she's a little, that she can take that step forward as a 3-year-old. I'm always going to root for her. My mother was in the winner's circle when she broke her maiden. The picture's up in her room, so she's a special horse.
Good picture to be part of. Yeah. Alpha Bella, meanwhile, for Todd Pletcher, she comes off a near miss in the Grade 3 Swedish Chan at Gulfstream.
I'm not saying others can't improve, but I think if you're looking for the second most logical horse, isn't it her, Greg? No, you seem to be gets Lasix.
I think it's between her and the one Mission of Joy.
Okay, as the other horses behind the 10. Are you not a big fan of Free Look, or you think she's?
No, I think Free Look's the one to beat.
Okay. I always feel like Todd is just especially dangerous on these big days, especially down in Florida. Yeah. It just seems that the horses always seem to run well. We saw how well that filly ran in the race before this, and for me, I never want to get beaten by Todd if he's got anything that's close and good enough, especially when they're not the favorites, though she is the second choice, and she probably should be.
2 minutes to post. Grade 3 Florida Oaks. Let's go to Lafitte and Acacia for more.
Greg, kind of an unconventional series for the 3-year-old fillies here at Tampa Bay Downs. You start with the Gasparilla in January on dirt. The Suncoast you were here for on dirt. And now the switch to grass for the Florida Oaks here and inviting a brand new cast of characters.
And it's a big field. It's a contentious field as well. And it certainly makes it interesting. And one of the things we hear time and time again throughout the winter here at Tampa is how trainers like to make use of this turf course, especially in trying to leg their horses up this time of year for some of the bigger races at Keeneland or in New York down the line.
Perhaps that filly we're looking at, the Don Alberto homebred, Alpha Bella, assuming Free Look brings her best or something close to it, how much does she have to improve, Alpha Bella, in order to defeat Free Look and company?
She improved a lot last time out. If this was just off the back of her maiden win or even just what I've seen from her in the past, I really wouldn't be sold. She's a very, very small filly. There's just not much of her. She's never really strengthened that much, and I think that was a big reason why they switched her to the turf. Now, she was game in that win 2 starts back. When she broke her maiden, she was kind of drifting out into her foe in Sri Lanka, who was, I think, about 45-1 for Brendan Walsh, and that was a race where there was just a lot of first-time starters, a lot going on. And last time out, maybe the figure was flattered by the huge effort of her stablemate in Cairo Consort, overcoming a really poor break to get the win. But Alpha Bella, I thought, ran well that day. She does get Lasix here. She is a horse that has the pedigree to be successful, too. She's after Florida Oaks winner Andina Del Sur.
Spoke with Chad Brown this morning about Free Look. Speaking of small fillies, he says, I'm actually happy about the post position. On the outside, he hates the fact that she may lose ground, but he thinks that this is a better scenario for her, that she can be intimidated. She can get a little bit claustrophobic, as you saw in stages of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf, that she's much better towards the outside and perhaps much more comfortable. So something to watch there in terms of trip with Arad Ortiz looking for a 3rd graded stakes win on the afternoon. And also asked him about some of the goals later on this season, and he said, look, she can compete with the very best. She has that kind of ability, but distance moving forward is a question with Free Look. He doesn't know about 1 1/8 miles, doesn't know about 1 1/4 miles. He thinks this is about her limit in terms of where she'd be at her best, 1 16 miles.
I know that Chad says that she's small, but I think she's grown. I didn't have many notes from her going back. I had to ask Maggie for some help, and she said that she was one that kind of lacked a little bit of muscle definition behind, and while she is still a lighter frame type, she's filled out a little bit to my eye. Free look.
There's Grace Darling. She'll break to the outside of Free Look in second start here in North America for trainer Brian Lynch. What are you expecting from her today?
I thought that her U.S. debut was definitely a race that you could have moving forward. She wasn't the sharpest to break, which is typical of horses coming from Europe and making their first stateside race. Now, she did have a good trip that day, but she kicked away really impressively. She was dabbled out from head to toe, and she fit in with these. Maybe one at a big price who could be intriguing beyond the favorites.
Dreaming of Snow. She beat the champ. Why can't she beat this field?
It's her first time on turf, so who knows? But she is trained by perennial leading trainer Gerald Bennett, who upset at 38-1 in the Suncoast last time. And I was not sold that she wanted to go that far. She was able to nurse things along on the front end. She tries the turf today, but she has pedigree for it. When working in Florida at Gulfstream, saw a lot of progeny of Jess's Dream, and I like them on the turf. She's also, though the mare was unraced, the second dam ran her highest buyer on turf, and this one is after Montauk Daddy, who we've seen in New York, a two-time turf winner.
Bennett's still thinking Kentucky Oaks, by the way, with her.
Yeah.
And he said, well, he wasn't sure if he was going to run here. All right, turf experiment. We'll see what happens, but still thinking about the Kentucky Oaks for her moving forward. Dreaming of Snow. And then Juniper's Moon, Acacia, currently 26-1. Beautifully bred by Galileo. Her mom, a Grade 1 winner. I'm a Chatterbox.
And she is a horse that just broke her maiden, and with a slower buyer speed figure of 67. But we mention her because Tony Dutrow is sitting on win number 1,999. So today could potentially be a milestone for him. He has two in the last race as well in that maiden special weight. Of course, now that we're talking about it, we're probably going to put a stop on that for poor Tony. But as you mentioned, the pedigree is there, and I did think it was worth mentioning while she was able to set the pace last time, that track listed as firm, it had actually been a torrential downpour earlier in the day on Sam F. Davis Day. So the track, I think, was perhaps a little bit less than firm that afternoon.
Reportedly real firm here now, this turf course at Tampa Bay Downs as they march towards the starting gate. Free Look still at 3-2. Arad Ortiz looking for what would be a fourth win on the afternoon, a third stakes win. Brown looking to go back-to-back in terms of graded stakes wins. Race shape, pace, what are you looking for early on?
If Dreaming of Snow breaks as quickly on the turf as she has on the dirt, you can certainly imagine that she's going to use that early speed. You have a couple of other horses that have a little bit of early foot, but just maybe are not as good as what they could be facing. Mohawk Trail, Juniper's Moon wired the field last time, though she had trouble in her debut, so be curious to see what kind of tactics they use with her in here today. But I would think Dreaming of Snow will try to take them every step yet again.
Who did you wind up with on top your selection for this Grade 3 Florida Oaks?
As far as the horse I liked best physically was the number 11, Grace Darling. I know she has a lot to prove in here today. She was a standout to me in the paddock. Let's see if she can replicate that stateside debut.
Solid North American debut. Filing into the gates. After this, the main event, the Tampa Bay Derby. 50 points to the winner for the Kentucky Derby. But first things first, 3-year-old fillies in the Grade 3 Florida Oaks, 8-5. Free Look for Chad Brown. Jason Beam standing by.
Free Look, the favorite, coming forward, holding at 8-5 right now. Here's Dreaming of Snow. Suncoast Stakes winner, trying the grass here. Grace Darling, the next to join, just waiting on Navy Goat and Ticker Tape Home. We'll be all set for the Florida Oaks. Ticker Tape Home, and Amiseo Jaramillo to the outside draw. Goes up. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Florida Oaks. Alphabella toward the inside, got away quickly. Facciabella is right there, and Dreaming of Snow forwardly placed as well. Here's Dreaming of Snow up to put a nose in front. Facciabella in second. From the outside, trying to work over there is Mohawk Trail. In between horses, Juniper's Moon is right up there in that second flight. As they come by us for the first time, it's Dreaming of Snow in front. Facciabella, Juniper's Moon there, second and third. Mohawk Trail right to their outside, and the orange is fourth. Alphabella broke sharply, but settles back fifth. The Ticker Tape Home a little bit wide in sixth. Mission of Joy, and then comes Stephanie's Charm. Down at the inside, All-American Beauty. A little bit of a wide trip here for Navy Goat. It's a length more than back to Free Look, who's second last. At the back early on is Grace Darling. 23-1 for that opening quarter mile on the Florida Oaks, and Dreaming of Snow takes them down the back stretch. It's Dreaming of Snow a length in front. Room at the inside for Facciabella, who tries to squeeze through. In between horses, Juniper's Moon. Mohawk Trail stays out 3 deep from the 4th spot. Alphabella's 5th toward the inside, just 2.5 lengths behind. Out wide is Ticker Tape Home, and amongst horses, Mission of Joy. Down at the fence, All-American Beauty in the teal colors is about 8th, but only 4 off the top. 47-4 for that opening half mile. Dreaming of Snow. Down on the inside looking for room is Facciabella. Couldn't get through. Got shut off there. Between horses, Juniper's Moon. 3 deep here for Mohawk Trail. Ticker Tape Home. Starting to wind up out 4 wide. Alphabella's just in behind that one with Mission of Joy. Free Look is back second last and about 7 or 8 lengths behind as they wind around to the top of the stretch. Juniper's Moon between horses. Mohawk Trail in the orange colors. Those two emerge to the front. Dreaming of Snow back to 3rd. Facciabella. Mission of Joy down the outside. Alphabella has a seam. Going to look between runners. Free Look has a long way to go. Mission of Joy and Alphabella, those are the two that go on. Alphabella between horses, Mission of Joy on the outside. Mission of Joy forges to a narrow advantage. Alphabella battles right back. They drive to the wire. Mission of Joy got it. Alphabella was 2nd. Juniper's Moon 3rd. Freelook got going to photo for 4th.
Driving finish. Mission of Joy. Alphabella throwing it down in deep stretch. Mission of Joy, sharp filly, make it 3 straight on this turf course, victorious in the Florida Oaks.
There was a lot going on in this race, Lafitte. This was a race that you're going to have to watch back a few times. A tight photo finish there between the one Mission of Joy and Alphabella. Mission of Joy getting the right kind of trip. I have to give a little credit to the number 8, Juniper's Moon, who hung on for 3rd because she got really rank and headstrong early on. I hope in the future we see Tony Dutrow have a jockey that has really soft hands riding her, because that seems to be the key, and she has that speed. A big effort from her. She was chasing around Dreaming of Snow, tried again with no avail to take them gate to wire.
Mission of Joy 5-1 in the Florida Oaks. What about the feature event at Aqueduct and the odds-on favorite Rosa Veloce in the paddock for the correction? Maggie Wolfendale standing by.
Thanks, Lafitte. An exciting finish there going back to that Florida Oaks. But the correction for the older fillies and mares now in the paddock here at the Big A, going the 6 furlongs. We'll start with, yes, Rosa Veloce, the New York bred, who has been en fuego for, well, a very hot barn in Rob Atras. He wasn't able to get the 7 in a row, but he's going to go for 7 of 8 here today. And looking at her, she's just a tank of a filly. She always has been. She's very compact. She's the quintessential sprinter frame. And she looks great here. She looks as though she should be the clear-cut, one of the clear-cut speeds, I should say, and she probably is the fastest. We'll see how much pressure, a horse like Fuete does apply to her. But all things looking good for your favorite, and the fact that she has a good tracking record over a wet track, I think, aids to her chances. But let's take a look at the horse shipping in here, and that's number 3, Prodigy Doll for Phil Schoenthal, whom I caught up with here in the paddock, and he said, I really like her. Of course, trainers do tend to like their horses, but he found out, and it solidified his thoughts in the Fritchie, that she doesn't really like being inside of horses. And while she was able to get off the rail from that inside post, she just never was really clear in the lane. So the objective today for Trevor McCarthy is to break well, sit, get off the rail, and try to make that run down the middle of the racetrack. She looks great here, shipping in against these horses here in the paddock. She fits well with them. Great coach, who are very classy acting overall. I think she's very interesting and a viable alternative to the favorite, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. 10-1 right now. Prodigy Doll coming in from Laurel in Maryland. Big number. As we get a look at the big favorite here, everyone's race goes through Rosa Veloce, no question.
Yeah, if she breaks here, she's probably going to win the race. She's the controlling speed. She's in great form. Rob Atras's barn saved the last race. Can't really be stopped these days. I don't know what not to like. This race, big favorite or not, she stalked. The rail was very strong. She was never on the rail. She still drew off to an impressive win. She's got some fast races recently. She's just turned her career around. She had been okay before, but she really turned it around when she was claimed by Rob Atras, and she's just the best horse with a pace advantage. I get it with Prodigy Doll. I picked her 2nd. She's got some good back races. Her last race was atrocious, but I thought this was a reasonable spot. Though Easy to Bless ran very, very well last time, and she too has some back races, but it's Rosa Veloci's race to lose when you're the horse to beat on your form and you have a potential tactical advantage, it makes you very tough.
Saw those prices from the Grade 3 Florida Oaks. Mission of Joy, 3 in a row for Graham Motion.
Good call by you, by the way. You said the 1 and 3. You nailed that.
Thank you.
Good call, Greg.
Rosa Veloce, here she is, 3-5 favorite. She's won 3 of her last 4.
I don't need to keep waxing poetic about a 3-5 shot. She's supposed to win.
I'm Buzzy, Amira Shishakli, and Kate Davis.
This is connections that have been improving horses dramatically. She was fortunate to win last time. I'd like to see it again. She's in a tough spot.
There's the Maryland Shipper, Prodigy Doll.
Yeah, I mean, she's got some back races that are good enough. Don't like her last race, but maybe she can get back some of the others.
Fuete, she's appreciated and off track in the past.
Should be sitting second to the favorite early in here. She didn't run well in Maryland. Maybe she'll appreciate getting back to New York.
And a huge effort last time out from Easy to Bless.
I mean, this horse really ran extremely well last time, and she's got those back 90 figs. So I think she's the most likely upsetter.
Big Temptations at 18-1.
Her last ride got a lot of what I thought was foolish attention on the internet, but she's a zillion to 1. I mean, she should be 118 to 1 against this field.
And 10-1 outside Secret Love, Dylan Davis for John Kimmel.
Boy, she had a perfect trip up a gold rail last time. Maybe she's better at 6 furlongs, but she did not run well last time.
Feature from Aqueduct coming up. That correction, it's back to Oaklawn. Race 7 starts their pick 4, mile and an 1/8 in this first level allowance race. And Barber Road, who was 3rd in last year's Rebels, 2nd in last year's Arkansas Derby. Right now the favorite. Let's go to Paul for more.
Yeah, he is the favorite, Greg. And again, do we want to jump on the bandwagon? Because it seems like we've seen the same movie every time that he's ran. He's got a little bit better. Now, this is a lot weaker field than he has faced, but still, he's the kind of horse that is up against it when it comes to pace. He runs his races upside down. What I mean by that, he comes from way out of it, and I just don't know at 2-1 in here. When I look at the other horses in here, I thought the 8 Skipper 2 coming in from Gulfstream Park. It seems like everything that's coming out of Florida has been live. And I also thought the 9 was a major player, another Lucas horse with Gaffleone aboard. You know, this horse ran into Mahamel. I had said this before. Mahamel is a sloppy, this horse, Mahamel's a slop freak. He just loves the slop, and all of his wins have been in it. And the time before that was chasing Call Me Fast, who's a very good horse. So I know Ben Diesel might not be able to get the mile and an 1/8, but I think that maybe he can get to the front end in here. So I'm not in love with the 1, obviously. I do think the 2 is your price play here at 14-1, but I'm going to take a shot again with another Lucas horse here.
All right, Paulie, thank you. Yeah, Dwayne Lucas, Ben Diesel. He's got the 9, and JK, by the way, he likes the 7 Tiger Moon, 13-1 at Oaklawn.
I'm with Paulie. I like the 8 and 9 in this race, actually. I think I very much agree with Paulie.
Left-hand side of your screen, there's the big favorite in the correction, Rosa Veloce. 3 wins the last 4 starts. Should be the controlling speed. We'll get back to it in a moment. Here's the 7th from Oaklawn. Jim Byers the call.
They're in the gate. And they're off. And back ring luck is showing some early speed here. Chileno is just inside of him. Up to the outside is Ben Diesel. He's racing in 3rd. Mr. Thunderstruck 4th. Barber Road is eager today, and he's moving up right on the inside. And Barber Road's going to be pocketed right in behind the leader, Chileno. As they move around that first turn, it's Chileno 3/4 of a length to back ring luck. And Barber Road on the inside is racing in 3rd. Ben Diesel to the outside 4th, and Tiger Moon is in between runners in 5th. Length and a half, Mr. Thunderstruck is settled in 6th in front of 2 runners. They are the Skipper 2 in the green sleeves, and Icarus is trailing the field as they advance up the backstretch. There goes Barber Road on the inside. Barber Road, the confirmed stretch runner, is going to the lead for Raylu Gutierrez here. As they approach the far turn, he has the lead by a head. Right to the outside is Chileno and Joel Rosario. And then back ring luck from between horses. Ben Diesel 4 wide on the outside as they line up nearly 4 across the track. And Tiger Moon sits in behind that group. He's racing in 5th. 2 lengths to Mr. Thunderstruck, the Skipper 2, and Icarus down on the inside as they come to the head of the stretch. Barber Road leads the way here. He's made it a 1-length lead with a 1/4 mile to go. Then back ring luck. Ben Diesel not doing enough yet up on the outside. And Tiger Moon moves off the rail here to challenge Barber Road, who leads the way. Here comes Mr. Thunderstruck with a bid, along with Icarus from the back of the pack. And now Icarus, the main danger to Barber Road. Barber Road, Icarus. Icarus is going to get on by. Barber Road, a courageous second. Backring Luck was third. Tight for fourth between the Skipper 2 and Tiger Moon.
Barber Road comes up just short. Icarus, Thomas Van Berg, Francisco Arrieta, back-to-back wins as we get back to New York here for the feature on this Saturday card, the correction with Rosa Veloce.
I love my man Ray Gutierrez switching the tactics on Barber Road. Tough beat there. Listen, I'm not against the number 1 at 2 to 5, though I do think it's too big a price on the number 5 horse. Easy to Bless. Her last race was pretty good. She's got to get out of the gate, though. You going to try to beat this favorite, Greg?
Tough to try and do it. Prodigy Doll, the 3, Easy to Bless, I thought had a look, but she breaks clean.
I love Maggie's loyalty to those Maryland horses. She's the best. I picked the horse second, so it's not like I disagree with her.
I'm not as sold as some. 2 to 5, I don't know if she should be 2 to 5.
2 to 5's a little short. 3, 4 to 5, probably the right price. Wet track. She's just much the worst to beat, but we'll see. They don't run races on paper.
Rob Atras, trainer of Rosa Veloce, that win streak came to an end. He still won 6 of his last 7 starters on this circuit here in New York. See if he can make it 7 for his last 8 with the odds-on favorite. It's the correction. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Secret Love. Last to load. All in line. All set. And they're off. Broken a good line, and Rosa Veloce's got early speed, but has company. Fuerte takes it right to her to the outside. They're a clear 1-2. It's a pace duel on the front end. Now in between horses here, trying to move forward. Down towards the inside is Prodigy Doll, is right there. And toward the outside, there comes Big Temptations, is in that mix with Secret Love. That's the leading 5. Easy to Bless is towards the tail end of the field, and the trailer, late running, I'm Buzzy. 4 furlongs left to go. Rosa Veloce is in front, is up by a neck. Fuerte has been there the entire way. It takes it right to the 2 to 5 favorite here from second. Here's the run from Secret Love, is now in third, is to the outside of Prodigy Doll, who's in fourth. Then losing ground is Big Temptations from the back. Easy to Bless, and I'm Buzzy is launching a rally from the back of the pack as they approach a quarter mile left to go. Rosa Veloce reaches the top of the stretch, and what has she got? Rosa Veloce now kicks for home. It's Rosa Veloce. Continue to chase his Fuerte up on the outside from the back. Prodigy Doll is now making up some ground from third with Secret Love. Easy to Bless. A furlong left to go. Rosa Veloce is opening up now by 4, 5 widening lengths. She's a New York bred, and she was fantastic in the correction. Rosa Veloce. Prodigy Doll up for second, then came Fuerte, and Easy to Bless in 1 minute 11.16 seconds.
First stakes win for, the New York bred Rosa Veloce. She's now won 4 of her last 5, and Rob Atras has won with 7 of his last 8 here in New York.
Only he could have won with that horse earlier today. He'd be joining Oscar Barrera with the 8 straight winners. You know what, Greg, we joke and say they don't run races on paper. They ran this one on paper. She's just a better horse than these. It's a nice performance by the 3 who got a nice ride from Trevor to get second. I'm glad to have him back. But, I mean, she was best on paper, and she was best on the racetrack.
Hunter Carmouche did what he could with Fuerte to try and put a little heat on her. In the end, it didn't matter.
And you know what? Fuerte probably ran the second best race when you think about it, because at least she, Trevor realized I'm not going to beat the favorite. But maybe I could get lucky and say I'll have the favorite. I'm going to ride sort of for second. Not that he doesn't want to win, but kind of ride for second. And it ended up getting him second, whereas Fuerte and Kendrick, they took it to the favorite a little bit here. Favorite's just too good for these. Great form for her right now.
Once she broke as sharp as she did, it looked like it was going to be a tough road to hoe for anybody else in here. She has just gotten exceptionally good her last 5 starts. Next level.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get tougher. I mean, obviously, if Rob wants to move forward with the distaff, it's going to get tougher. But you know what? She's already well over the $32,000 they claimed her for. I mean, she's now won over $100,000 this year, and I'm going to say close to $200,000 for these connections since the claim. Hard to knock that.
Are you ready? Here we go, Derby Trail and Tapit Trice. Stakes debut coming up. Grade 3 Tampa Bay Derby, points on the line to get into that starting gate for the first Saturday in May. We'll be back.
Here comes Malathon. Here comes Clariere on the outside, and it's got to be Clariere. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths.
And Elite Power gets up to win the sprint. Outside, it's Malathon coming to the wire. Who's it going to be? Here's the wire. Oh, the wish has come true. That one's for you, Cody.
So what have we learned over the past few weeks? We learned never to overlook this Preakness winning trainer.
Confidence game, Red Route 1, confidence game!
We learned of the Derby prospects sent to Tim Yakteen, but maybe the best one was with him all along.
And practical move, another big effort from him under Ramon Vasquez, wins the San Felipe.
And finally, we learned emphatically, the champ is back.
Here's your 2-year-old champion. Here's Forte, gear down.
So what do we learn today? Because here's the question, with just minutes to post. Is this colt a legit Kentucky Derby contender?
Back at the barn, he says, as Tapit Trice runs up the score.
50 Kentucky Derby points to the winner. The 43rd running of the Tampa Bay Derby is next. The Tampa Bay Derby, no surprise. 2-5, Tapit Trice, the odds-on favorite for today's Tampa Bay Derby occasion. Not all Derby preps are created the same. Not all Tampa Bay Derbies are created the same. When you look at Tapit Trice, take a step back. In terms of a big-picture Kentucky Derby perspective, what does this race mean for him?
I think it's a really important stepping stone for him. He's a horse that has done some good things in his recent races, and he was impressive last time out at Gulfstream Park, but he's still shown some immaturity in the way that he handles himself in the paddock prior to the races, the way that he breaks out of the gates. Mentioned at the top of the show, in his first 2 races, he really seemed to resent the kickback and wasn't responding early on. Last time, Luis Saez was very intentional about keeping him to the outside of horses. So hopefully we will have the opportunity to see him be into the game a little bit more.
That's what I like that we saw in that win, the acceleration in the stretch, like the polishing off of his rivals. He was also a little bit more aggressive early on. Not ranked, just a little bit more eager. Another step forward for this colt, making short work of Shesterkin, his stablemate in that last particular race. Another move forward, and you can understand why all the excitement. This Tapit colt, $1.3 million purchase today. A victory today, and you're talking about that short list of Kentucky Derby contenders that trainer Todd Pletcher, well, he knows all about it. He is the all-time leading trainer in the Tampa Bay Derby, a 5 time winner. There are those names on your screen, Acacia. And then there are his best Derby finishes, going back to Super Saver, who ran in the Tampa Bay Derby. Always Dreaming ran in an allowance race as well. Bluegrass Cat ran here second in the Kentucky Derby. This has always been a productive spot along the trail for the Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher.
And he's been very smart about which horses to bring here. We saw last week in the Fountain of Youth, Forte, dominant, kind of the biggest name on the 3-year-old picture right now, I would say. So Todd has to be creative about where to run his 3-year-olds. It's a good problem to have. And so taking these two to the Tampa Bay Derby, an important race for both of them, but also an important opportunity to get those points to get into the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby.
50 points to the winner, Greg. Tampa Bay Derby coming up very shortly. We'll have riders up in a post parade in just a few minutes.
We look forward to it, Lafitte. Acacia, thank you. Back here in New York in the correction. No doubt about it. Rosa Veloce, best 4th win, last 5 starts for this New York bred 5-year-old mare.
She's just been in sensational form, and sometimes racing is just logical, and she was super logical on paper, and she ran like it. You know, you look to try to beat favorites, try to find chinks in their armor, and there just really wasn't one for her in this race. She had so much of an advantage, and she's in great form.
7 wins the last 8 starts on this circuit for trainer Rob Atras. He's with Maggie Wolfendale.
Here with winning trainer Rob Atras of today's Correction Stakes, and Rosa Veloce. Rob, she has just been in stellar form for you, picking up her 4th win out of 5 starts for the barn, and it just looked as though she was a layover on paper. Did you feel as confident as the board suggested coming in here?
I'm never that confident, Maggie, but you know, she was doing really well, and you know, full credit to Bob Durry. He picked out the horse back in Saratoga, and you know, she really got her confidence back with a couple of wins, and she's been really great. She's a really nice filly.
With, you know, especially with fillies and mares, and you pick up the black type as she has today, it makes their value exponentially greater. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, we actually weren't planning. This wasn't our first plan, but when the other race didn't go, we looked at the noms, and she looked like she fit, so we wanted to take a shot, and she really ran a big race today. We're really proud of her. She's a New York bred. I mean, you can go back to New York bred stakes, right?
Yeah, when the time comes, yeah, the opportunity, you know, obviously that's an option, but we're just really happy with the win today.
Well, enjoy it. Congratulations, Rob.
Thank you, Maggie. Appreciate it.
All right, Rob Atras continues this streak, 7 for 8, and tops it off with a win in the correction. Greg?
On an incredible roll right now, as is his 5-year-old mare here, Rosa Veloce. As we take a look at this cross-country Pick 5 follow-along. One slight upset in there. It's been formful the other 2 legs.
Right. The parlay's around $35 for $2 so far. But, you know, I don't know if people all just leaned on Champasara, probably leaned a lot more on the last winner. We'll see how it plays out. You beat a favorite in free look.
So Grade 3 Tampa Bay Derby on the road to this year's Kentucky Derby, and 2-5 favoritism. Tapit Trice for Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher, who already, of course, has the 2-year-old champ and the probably leader right now for this year's Derby with Forte.
Yeah, no, he's obviously he's in a great spot, and he's had a lot of years in great spots. You still have to get there and do it. And I think we knew what Forte was. We saw him last year. He just needed to show that he's continued on, and we'll see if he can take another step forward. This horse, he may win today, and we may still not like him that much for the Derby. We'll see what he does today.
Here's Lord Miles, Safi Joseph Jr. Blinkers come off.
Yeah, hard horse to really like. Hasn't run competitively in either race. That's why it's 34-1.
6, Exit the Sam F. Davis. This is the 3rd place finisher from that race, the 2 Classic Car Wash.
I would argue that of all of them, this probably had the best trip of anybody. A very good trip in there. Would have to improve. And hopefully they'll move off the 1. But apparently they love Lord Miles.
Here we go. Finally,
they'll speed to the rest of them, Greg.
21-1 on this Son of Noble Bird. The 3 Classic Legacy, yeah, he had a much wider trip for Bill Mott in that Sam F. Davis.
But you just take the worst of it with Irad Ortiz, because he's not supposed to be 5-1 in this race and a clear-cut second choice. And it's because of Irad, though I thought he ran fine last time.
Groveland, he did some of the dirty work up front there.
I don't disagree. He saved a lot of ground, but I thought he was pushing it, and I don't think he's supposed to be 12-1 in Classic Legacy, 5-1.
Mikey Bananas went by, big number. Here's the 2-5 favorite, Tapit Trice.
Yeah, I mean, 2-5's a little much, but on paper, he lays over this field.
Freedom Road, trained by Gregory Sacco.
I mean, from a speed figure, at least Bayer speed figures, he's been running some good numbers. We'll see if he can step forward.
He'll stretch back out. This will be the furthest he's ever gone today. Dreaming of Kona struggled in the Sam F. Davis.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Freedom Road. He looks like it may be a stretch in the distance. As far as Dreaming of Kona, I just think it may be a stretch, period.
Stablemate to the big favorite, Shesterkin, named after Rangers goalie Igor Shesterkin.
Why is this horse the 4th or 5th choice in this race at 20-1? I know he got drowned by Tappa Trice, but he was favored in that race. I think he's far from impossible to get a big piece.
We thought he might be the second best horse in the
I
race.
agree.
Yeah, Champion's Dream went by, and here's 39-01 shot, the Speedster Zydeco.
Yeah, Champion's Dream's been a real disappointment this year. As far as Zydeco, he's quick, but another outside post and a tough road to hoe in the air.
And Saffie Joseph Jr. has got inside, he's got outside. Prairie Hawk here.
Yeah, this horse did absolutely no running from an inside post in the Sam Davis. Now he has a far outside post. Different horse needs to show up today.
Boost your Kentucky Derby bankroll with the popular Derby Bankroll Builder. Win up to $100 towards the Kentucky Derby when you bet select Derby preps with Nauer bets, including today's Grade 3 Tampa Bay Derby. Got to opt in to the promo. Bet $50 on today's Tampa Bay Derby. You'll get $20 in your account at NauerBets.com. Let's take a look at that Kentucky Derby leaderboard. Tappa Trice, his stablemate, the 2-year-old champ, atop the list right now after that comeback win in the Fountain of Youth.
Listen, I mean, there's so much more left to go. You look at those and you think about the third-place finishers in these 100-point prep races. Is this 100 or 50? It's 50, right?
50.
Those third-place finishers are going to get 20. So this board is going to look a lot different. Forte was always going to be in it. Practical Move is in it. Confidence Game is in it. You're going to see a lot of changes going forward.
Let's go to the Sam F. Davis. Again, 6 runners returning out of this race, including the 2nd through 5th place finishers. We know what Zydeco wants to do. He's the speedster.
Yeah, I mean, you know what he's going to do, but he sat with other outside post. There appears to be as much, if not more, speed today, so he's going to go. I didn't see any major trouble in this race. The only thing I would say was the Classic Legacy was caught wide on both turns.
And somehow it looked like he was certain to get third. He just got nailed for it at the last moment, and that was his first start of his 3-year-old campaign for the Mount Runner Classic Legacy.
And he improved. I mean, his maiden win was nothing spectacular. He took a little bit of a step forward, and Belmont's been going well. He gets IRAD. But these horses, they're so far off of Tappa Trice. You think about the winner, Litigate, for Todd Pletcher. I'm sure if you had a candid conversation with Todd, Litigate is not very high up on his list. And he's probably thinking, what are the other races I can find to get this horse? And he's going to take a shot, hoping distance is better, and run the mile and 3/16 Louisiana Derby.
Here is the Pasco. This was 2 starts back for Zydeco, who, of course, we saw in the Sam F. Davis as well. In this race, he did go gate to wire.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say about Zydeco. I'm not really sure. He's not a distance horse. His sire, Cajun Breeze, won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. He's not a Kentucky Derby. He's not a Triple Crown type prep threat horse. And I hopefully for the connections, after a likely mediocre performance today, they realize what they have and they say, we've got a sprinter. Let's stop with these distance races. I get it. They all have Derby fever, but enough.
Important stop on the road to that first Saturday in May, just moments away. Let's go to Lafitte and Acacia.
Yeah, Derby fever. It's a real thing, and that's what's on the line here. Points towards the Kentucky Derby. You know that Tappa Trice. You know he's the one to beat. You've crunched all the numbers. You've watched all the previous races, Acacia. But today, in terms of appearance, who caught your eye in the paddock who isn't necessarily behaving all that well now as we get closer to post time?
Well, talking about the number 4 Groveland, of course, the race goes through Tappa Trice. We all know that. And, of course, Todd Pletcher has kind of the 2 big ones there. But Groveland ran well last time out in the Sam Davis, finishing 2nd. He was the one that kind of stuck around there after being crowded at the start, running on late, maybe just a little bit flat there coming on, or I'm sorry, he was one who was just second best there. He was able to get through on the inside after waiting and waiting. But this is a horse that I think was 21-1 by virtue of the fact that he was behind Prairie Hawk. They just went 1, 2, 3, 4 around the line, 2 starts back there in that allowance. But yeah, he was being a little bit obstinate on the track. I don't mind that. He was almost being just a little cultish. If a 1,000-pound animal, Lafitte, decides he doesn't want to go forward, the 120-pound guy on his back is going to have a hard time getting him to do so without a lead pony. But Danny Centeno did everything right, kicked his feet out of the irons, and he seems to have settled now.
Tampa Bay's all-time leading jockey, Daniel Centeno, 6-time riding champ, 2-time Tampa Bay Derby winning jockey aboard Groveland. Classic Legacy for Hall of Famer Bill Mott. Barn absolutely on fire over the last, I don't know, year and a half, or if you want to go back decades. Classic legacy in the presence of Arad Ortiz. Ortiz looking to go back-to-back, having struck last year with Classic Causeway in wire-to-wire fashion.
This was a horse that was crowded at the start a little bit last time. I don't think it took too much out of him. He was trying to go outside. Yes, he was wide. He just seemed a bit flat in that race. Now, he is the half-brother to Art Collector, multiple Grade 1 winner for Bill Mott, and he's actually starting to look more and more like his brother. He looks more fit, a little bit more tucked up today. He's 5-1 as your second choice. I find it very interesting to see all the money that he's taking, and I think Arad Ortiz has something to say about that.
Art Collector would have been the second choice in the pandemic-plagued Kentucky Derby of 2000 to Tis the Law. He defected a couple of days before the race, so we'll see about his half-brother here. And Classic Legacy to his inside, Classic Car Wash, third-place finisher in the Sam Davis.
He was one that was able to run on in between horses. I thought last time out before the Sam Davis, he wasn't moving as freely on the track as in his warm-up as I would have liked. I saw some improvement from him today.
Another look at the favorite, Tappet Trice, 2-5 Acacia post time.
He was very professional today. He was sharp, but he is one that seems to be getting more and more focused. I think that's the benefit for him. And quickly on Shesterkin, asked my friend Samantha Perry is in the paddock at Gulfstream about the addition of blinkers. She said he's one that just also lacks a little bit of maturity and focus as well. And I would think that the blinkers on would imagine we'll see him be forwardly placed.
It's post time. All set for the Grade 3 Tampa Bay Derby. 50 Kentucky Derby points to the winner. Jason Beam standing by. Final check of the tote board reading 2-5 on Tappet Trice.
Just a couple more back. Winning on Tappet Trice, Prairie Hawk will be all set for a start. Tappet Trice, the favorite, goes in. Prairie Hawk and Sammy Camacho to the outside draw. Goes in. They're in the gate. Looks like Groveland's acting up a little bit in gate 4. Rider climbing back on board. And our race is on in the Tampa Bay Derby. Lord Miles from the inside got away well, but Zydeco got away quicker. And Zydeco once again going to go up to assume command. Dreaming of Kona down to that one's inside, and Prairie Hawk. Those three right across the track as they run into that first turn. Lord Miles stays toward the inside in 4th. Classic Legacy is 5th in between horses. Shesterkin is out in 6th. It's a length and a half more back to Champion's Dream in 7th. Groveland is 8 down toward the inside. It's 2.5 more lengths then back to Classic Car Wash in 9th. Freedom Road is down toward the inside. Tappet Trice is back second last. And at the back early on is Mikey Bananas. 23-3 for the opening quarter mile. And Dreaming of Kona. Long shot emerges up to the front. Under a good hold there, Zydeco in 2nd. Out wide, Prairie Hawk travels pretty nicely in 3rd. Length and a half more back to Shesterkin, who's in the 4th spot. Classic Legacy is in between horses in 5th. Champion's Dream starts to move up on the outside with Lord Miles. Classic Car Wash is going to be wide. Tappet Trice going to gear toward the outside, is being pushed along. The favorite is back 3rd last on the outside. Trying to make up some ground, Mikey Bananas, and Freedom Road drops out last. 46-4 for that opening half mile. They go into the far turn. Here's Prairie Hawk up on the outside of Dreaming of Kona. Between horses, Zydeco, those three right across the track as they wind around that far turn. Just in behind them, Classic Car Wash starting to stoke the fires from 4th. A length and a half more back to Shesterkin. Tappet Trice is trying to get going with Mikey Bananas on the outside. They're both on the move, but they're both very wide as they come to the top of the stretch. A scramble here. Dreaming of Kona down the outside. Prairie Hawk. Classic Car Wash continues to make up ground down the center of the track. Here comes that big gray Tappet Trice right down the outside. Tappet Trice trying to mow down Classic Car Wash. Here comes Tappet Trice, and Tappet Trice going to go on to win the Tampa Bay Derby. Classic Car Wash was 2nd, Classic Legacy 3rd, 4th went to Prairie Hawk.
From last to 1st, Tappet Trice in his stakes debut takes down the Tampa Bay Derby, a 6th for Todd Pletcher. Luis Saez in the saddle. Andy and Greg rounding the far turn. Saez was encouraging. Tappet Trice wasn't necessarily responding. I thought he was in deep water.
Once again, another very poor start out of the gate. We were talking about it off air, and he did not look prepared before the gates opened. Left himself with a lot of work to do.
Well, see, I see it a little differently. I mean, I would argue with you and say he ran badly and he still won, but we knew that going in because the field, he broke okay, maybe a half a length slow, but he just gets so kick into stride. It's like he's so sluggish and big that he has no idea what he's doing at the start. In a lot of ways, that almost worries me more, that it takes him so long to get going. I don't know what Todd can do. He overlaid this field on paper. And I agree with you. I agree with everybody will say the same thing. He never looked like a winner. I said to you on the 8th ball, he's going to win because I knew that they're just so slow and he's kicking into gear. But I got to tell you, if you're Todd Pletcher, you happy you won? And maybe you say he didn't run very well and he still won, but you can't come out of this race and say he's a better horse now than he looked like he might be before. Is that fair?
Big concerns, I think, going forward with how sluggish he was early. Obviously, he mowed this field down. Laid over this field on talent. He probably should have.
He's not going to be running against horses like this when the water gets deeper, and that's why Todd may want more races. I just hate the way he takes so long to get in stride.
It's got to be a big concern. Gets the job done here. He gets 50 points. That should be enough to get into that starting gate in the Kentucky Derby. We'll see what path he takes and what can you do as a trainer to try and get him more interested early on.
Experience, maybe, but Todd Pletcher, he is tremendous. So if anyone can do it, he can. But
do blinkers go on potentially?
I don't know. I don't know those things. I don't understand him. He's obviously got some talent. I know he won, and listen, that's the important thing, and he's going to get better. But I think that if you're the Connections, you come in this race and say, we're really glad we won, but this was not a brilliant performance by any stretch of the imagination.
You look at that and what he did, and obviously he kicked into gear and it was impressive, but against better competition, against a stablemate like Forte, some of the others out there, that's not going to work.
He isn't beaten Forte with a performance like this. I'll be interested to see what he does. I still think he's a really good horse, and I'm glad he got the job done, but I don't think you can look at this race and say, wow, he took that step forward. He's getting more professional. That's the other thing. Even Todd talked about it. You want him to get more professional, and I don't think we saw that today.
Tapit Trice, nevertheless, collects 50 points to get into that starting gate first Saturday in May with a win in the Grade 3 Tampa Bay Derby. We go back to Oaklawn. Race 8, a race away from the Grade 2 Azeri in the showdown with last year's Kentucky Oaks winner Secret Oath and two-time Grade 1 winner Clairiere. 8th, two-turn mile, maiden special weight. Let's go to Paula Duca.
Yeah, actually an interesting group here. Some colts and geldings here, 3-year-olds, Greg. And I'm actually a kind of bit surprised because when you look at the 7 Seeking Unity, this horse has posted an 83 to 77 buyers, some good figures if you're a thoroughgraph, whatever kind of numbers that you're laying down or that you're handicapping with. But when you look at the will pays in the pick 3s, the one is absolutely slam. Night Quick here for Brad Cox, a first-time starter. Again, we had a Brad Cox first-time starter in the last race. Didn't run as well or 2 races before. Do we trust this one at 3-1? But this horse is so slammed in the picks, I really don't know what to do. The 7's the horse to beat, completely off those races. 2 other horses in here that I like are the 2 and the 9. Dream Boat, to me, the 9. I just think the horse didn't get a great trip. Corey Lannery, sort of rode that horse around the racetrack. He wasn't trying to save any ground. Now you're going 2 turns. This horse has got plenty of pedigree to go 2 turns. And I'll tell you what, the 2 horse in here for Dwayne Lucas is a tall drink of water. This horse is enormous. It's got to be about close to 17 hands. And, at 6-1, she had a little bit of trouble in her debut. And going around 2 turns again, I think she could be in the mix in here. I understand the 1's the horse to beat, but I'm going to lean towards the 2 or the 9 maybe for the upset here.
Paulie, thanks. The 2 for Dwayne Lucas, Gamekeeper, 6-1.
I love Gamekeeper here. Love Gamekeeper.
Loading up. Right-hand side of your screen, post parade for the nightcap, by the way, at Aqueduct, where the favorite is the 3 Helicopter Money.
Yeah, I picked Helicopter Money. I wouldn't bet at a super short price near. I picked the race 3-10-1. I'm a little interested in the first-time starter, Impulsive Spending on the inside.
How about the 3 with the speed dropping down?
Well, I picked the 3,
6,
as I said. The 6, I don't trust 6. Bad numbers for that barn on drop down, the maiden special maiden claimer. He can win, obviously, and he met much, much better horse in his races. I just don't trust him. But he can obviously win.
Get in as much of this post parade as we can, but they're just about loaded up at Oaklawn for race 8. Gamekeeper, Dwayne Lucas, the 2, trying to get his second winner on today's card. He has Secret Oath coming up next in the Grade 2 Azeri. Let's go to Jim Byers for the call.
They're off. And toward the outside, Clay's Black Opal, Juilliard, Reeled In, Nyquik, and Missin' Hollywood. Those 5 all across the track there. And up to the outside, it is Seeking Unity racing into 5th position and a fairly prominent 5th, followed by Seas of Normandy and Gamekeeper, Dreamboat, and shuffled back toward the back of that group is Nyquik. Nyquik's in front of 2 runners who are way back there early on. The first-time starter, Go Cats, and Interlock Empire. That pair's giving them a 9 or 10 length head start. Reeled In has the advantage up the backstretch by a neck. Missin' Hollywood is alongside. Back to the inside, it's Juilliard in 3rd. Seeking Unity appears in the clear to the outside in 4th. Gamekeeper is moving into a more prominent position. He's in between rivals. He'll need some room in 5th. Seas of Normandy in the orange and white checks alongside him to the outside and showing some interest. Clay's Black Opal has settled back in the group. Now Interlocking Empire is catching the eye and moving up. Here comes Interlocking Empire on the outside. Juilliard has a million horses to get around toward the inside. As they straighten away, Interlock Empire has circled them from the outside. What an impressive bid by Interlock Empire to sweep by and draw clear. Then Seeking Unity, Missin' Hollywood, Nyquik, and outside of him, Go Cats. Final 16th, Interlock Empire. David Cabrera completely tucks the whip away. He strolled under the wire, a convincing winner.
Interlock Empire, 4th time out for trainer Kenny McPeak. Lucky 7 stable, David Cabrera from the outside post with the win.
Source was much the best. If I have a good opinion at Oaklawn, it's by accident.
Back to New York. Nightcap coming up. Let's go to Maggie.
Taking a look at that first-time starter on the rail, Impulsive Spending. I like the name, as there's not much pedigree in the first generation, but the dam was half to a horse by the name. My name is Michael, who is a graded stakes placed runner going long on the dirt. But this guy's built like a sprinter. He is wearing blinkers first time out, and as I often talk about, I don't love it. With certain trainers, it's fine, i.e. Wesley Ward. I'm not as well versed when it comes to Bill Morey and his first-time starters and what they should or should not be wearing. But this horse got a very exuberant warm-up, and once Jose Gomez, who is riding here, got a leg up, this horse just really came alive. Really well muscled too. I think he's a bit intriguing, although we'll have to deal with that inside post and a wet track at first asking. Not always the easiest thing to do. And while little Luca, he is now your favorite in the likely pace, I think he takes a lot of pressure from number 7, Escape Mission here, who is sharp as can be for Ray Handel. And he's going to be my pick here because at least he's drawn to the outside. He looks great. Going to go for a little bit of an upset here, Greg.
By the way, it is post time. We have the incorrect time, minutes to post up. They're loading to the gate here for this nightcap coming up. So favorite, the 6, has become Little Luca here, the class dropper with speed.
Yep. I don't. He's obviously a logical type horse. I don't like drop downs from this barn. I think Helicopter Money is the one I prefer. I am scared of Impulsive Spending, the number 1. I picked the race 3-10-1. Those are the 3 that I like.
Helicopter Money just moved in the 3. Tom Morley barn dropping from State Bred Maiden 40 to 25 today. With Manny Franco, the hot hand from yesterday with those 5 wins. Here's Mr. Busta, huge number. This would be a shocker. Central Love, the 10, will load in a moment. Linda Rice, who just ran 4th at this level, was a beaten, near even money favorite last time out. Disappointed.
Yeah, I think the horse figures to be. I don't trust the 10, but there is some speed in here, and the 10 should get a good setup because all of the 3, 6, 7 appear to be horses that can be forward in here.
Nightcap from New York. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
4 Faith to the outside. All in line. All set. And they're off. Breaking well from the outside draw, Central Love had early speed, so did For Faith. And now down towards the inside, here come the rivals from Helicopter Money, who's got speed, and Little Luca emerges. Little Luca is up top, is now up by a full length. Here comes Escape Mission. Vargas right up alongside here from second. Helicopter Money's in third. At the rail in fourth, that's Impulsive Spending, who's followed by Macart, is in the red cap. Then further outside comes Excalibrate. Losing ground quickly was Mr. Busta, who's dropping back through the field. Gets past to the inside from Eternal Glory, who now takes the 7th position away. The gray is For Faith up on the far outside here towards the tail end of the field. Metamorphosis, and the trailer Central Love. They work around the turn. It's Little Luca. Little Luca is in command, is up by a half length. Escape Mission is right to the outside from second. Helicopter Money and Manny Franco looking for room here at the rail. They went 22.77 for that opening quarter mile. Little Luca's trying to fend him off, has a quarter mile left to go. Escape Mission is right up alongside here, has every chance to catch Little Luca. It's Little Luca who's up by a full length. Escape Mission continues to chase. Macart is making up some late ground here down that center of the racetrack with Helicopter Money. It's Little Luca who's got a furlong left to get, and Little Luca is 4 lengths clear inside the final 16th. Little Luca bet down to 2-1. This will be $9.99 for Kelly Breen. Little Luca wins the finale. Macart there for second, then Helicopter Money and Escape Mission in 1 minute 19.5, 6 seconds.
You heard Chris Griffin, one shy of 1,000 for trainer Kelly Breen. Little Luca, the quickest of the quick early, goes gate to wire.
Yeah, I mean, 3 horses that all could have been in front, the 3, 6, and 7. The other 2 basically conceded the lead to Little Luca, and Trevor McCarthy said, okay, I think I'm on the best horse. You want to let me control? I'll do it. Speed's been very tough to beat today. Mostly logical results, but still seems to have been a bit of an edge, but he won easily.
At 2-1, back at Tampa Bay Downs, Tappet Trice, all the talk about this Stud Pletcher, 3-year-old son of Tappet. Before the race, he wins the race, but Pletcher still with some work to do with his talented but slow out of the gate son of Tappet.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to knock him. He got the job done and he won, and that's the most important thing. But I think you're Todd Pletcher, you're the connections, you're on the Triple Crown Trail. You want to see these horses start to move forward and get more mature. And this guy has talent, but he needs to get more mature.
Wins at a short price, odds on 143-1, final time in the race as well. Let's head out to the track for more. Standing by with a winning rider, our crew.
Winning rider Luis Saez taking down this Tampa Bay Derby. Tappet Trice. Louis, what was going through your mind after that slow, sluggish start leaving the gate?
Yeah, it was going a lot, man. We break pretty slow from there. Everybody was quick in front, and the plan tried to be close to the pace. And well, in the half a mile when I started riding, and he was not giving me that kick, so my plan was to go out in the clear, and then he started running, coming to the top of the straight. He was keep going, and more distance he keep running more. So that was a very impressive race for him.
The win, sure. You gave him a really good pop passing the stands for the first time. Where did you want to be passing the clubhouse turn?
Well, I want to be like 4th or 5th in the clear, but breaking from there was pretty slow. So we have to change everything we have, and wow, he proved in the top of the straight that he's a champion. So that was very impressive, and Mr. Tapp did always a magnificent job with every horse he got.
At what point did you think you had a chance to win this thing?
Coming to the top of the stretch when we came to the clear, and then he started running, so we have a chance. I thought definitely we have a chance to catch him.
Well done, Louis. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Greg?
Lafitte, thank you. Tappet Trice at 1-2 in the end. This formful cross-country pick 5 continues with the grade 2 Azeri still to come.
Yeah, parlay's a little over $50 right now, right around $50 for a $2 bet, but see what happens at Oaklawn, and sometimes you get value with the shorter prices. This was one that you knew. I mean, the 3 short prices, they were very, very obvious horses and potential singles for people. Mission to Joy inject a little bit of value. I still think the Tappet Trice could turn out to be a very good horse. It's obviously a bit immature, but I want to see more from him going forward, and I'm sure Todd does as well, and we'll see what he does. Does he go to a race like the Bluegrass? Does he come to the Wood Memorial? Maybe at Aqueduct. His running style might work. We'll see. Todd won the Wood Memorial with a deep closer in Bourbonic. but he's going to have to get himself so he doesn't just sort of come out and just so sluggish early. Not going to help him in the Kentucky Derby unless they're really flying up front.
Yeah, and as you said, it's not just slow getting out of the gate. He's just kind of sluggish getting into stride. He's going to have one more race to kind of try and iron that out. But, you know, a couple of months just shy of that to work on that,
Sure.
assuming he gets to the Kentucky Derby.
Sure, and I want to see what the figure comes back. I always want to see the speed figures because sometimes you look at these races, you say, oh, that looked like a stinker, and they get a big fig. Sometimes you look at the race and say, ooh, that was really exciting. You look and you go, geez, I don't know, the figures weren't very good. So you don't want to just make rash judgments, and there's no reason to. And we're going to see him run another race. Todd mentioned it before. Todd's looking at him, and I think Todd Pletcher's saying he's a work in progress. I'm still working on him. He's got a lot of talent. I'm not knocking him, and neither are you in any way. But this was not a performance that you're going, boy, that's what we really want to see. He won by 6 lengths. People say, well, what did you want him to do? I wanted him to do a little more than that because looking on paper, he was not beating a very strong group of horses.
Still, as you said, a very talented work in progress. With more, let's go to Acacia.
Here we go. So happy to be joined by winning co-owner Mandy Pope, draped in the garland. Mandy, it looks great on you. Huge congratulations.
It's beautiful colors, and I am so excited and so blessed and thrilled. It's wonderful.
Tampa Trice, he's a horse that has come along, but he isn't one that gets out of the gate so quickly.
No, and watching him, he doesn't break when the doors open. He doesn't break till after he hears the bell, and then he's like, oh.
Any anxious moments for you today?
A lot of them, actually. I mean, with him being last and then going up there, and I actually lost track of him at one point, but we knew if he got to the outside that he would make his run, which he did.
Getting those 50 points today, how exciting with what he could potentially do moving on to the Kentucky Derby.
He is, and proving that all the distance you can throw at him, he's going to eat it up.
He's exciting for sure. Huge congratulations to you and the whole team.
Thank you very much. We've all worked very hard, and we're all very thrilled. Thank you.
Greg?
Mandy Pope put a lot of money into this game. Good to see her have a very talented Kentucky Derby contender in Tampa Trice. And this is what it's all about in this game, to have a horse that's on that path get you very excited.
Right. Even if you come out of the race a little disappointed with the performance, you're still talking about a horse that's one of whether, even if he's on the top 10 in the Derby right now, there are, 18, 19, 20,000 horses born a year? They've got one of the better ones, and that's a good thing. But I think you do have to have a critical analysis of the race, and that's what we're trying to do, is take race apart afterwards. And I don't think you can come out of this race and say, boy, I really like the way he's moving forward. That doesn't mean he won't move forward his next start. Doesn't mean he won't win the Kentucky Derby, but I want to see better.
Most importantly, collects those points to get to the big race. We'll see what his next step is. Does he stay in Florida? Does he come to New York? Does he go to Kentucky? Back to Aqueduct. Little Luca, he got the lead. He was dropping in class. Gate to wire under Trevor McCarthy.
Easiest kind of win, and just happy to see Trevor back in the winner's circle. He got there in a DQ in his first ride back, but that tough break with that injury, but that's just part of the game. But we know that Trevor can ride with anybody around here, and he was assertive. The others kind of allowed him to get away with it on the front end, but he rode the best horse today.
Little Luca 2-1. Dropped down in class, shown speed against better. This time it holds. Getting Lasix for the first time. 3-year-old debut. Mr. Amore Stable, Kelly Breen, they've been a good team over the years together. And they get one here with this class dropper. Makart, Helicopter Money, second and third. Pick 5 comes back $330. Pick 6, $3,793. One more coming up from Tampa Bay Downs. We'll get back there in a bit. 1 mile on the grass to close out their Tampa Bay Derby card. Maiden special weight. And one of the more wide open races on the program. Stay with us.
Undefeated Grade 1 winner Mastery was a multiple graded stakes winner at 2, including this victory in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Cash Call Futurity. On the track, his recent top runners include these star performers.
Surprisingly down the outside, Scottish Star here, surprisingly surging on the outside, surprisingly.
It's Midnight Memories who takes the lead. Midnight Memories, much the best in the Zenyatta.
Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Who you betting on?
How about
about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Olympiad leads American Revolution. Olympiad gets the gold in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
In its 97th season, Tampa Bay Downs has plenty of history. Today, there are many new things to see and do, and perhaps most importantly, the track's racing surfaces have become a big draw for owners and trainers looking to find the winner's circle.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, the turf course is beautiful. And when we started training, me and my wife, we had horses that were turf horses, and we needed to spend the winter somewhere. So we give it a go, and we really enjoy the place, the atmosphere, and the fact that horses winter very well.
Well, as you can see, everybody comes here to run on the turf, get their horses ready for going north. And the dirt track is, when you leave here, you can pretty well win at any track. The horses get legged up good here, and it's a very safe track.
We just want to give our horses enough foundation and experience to be able to obviously go to bigger meets, meaning Kinlan, New York, and you know how tough that can be. And we feel that Tampa is the right place to do so.
There are several places to enjoy all of that great racing, with new stadium seating in the grandstand, covered cabanas on the first floor, and the veranda, which gives your group the best seat in the house, directly across from the winner's circle. There's more fun to be had next door at the Downs Golf Practice Facility, which was launched in 2003.
We offer a fully stocked pro shop. We carry about 9 different brands of apparel, clubs, golf balls, gloves, you name it. Full short game area. You can actually bet the horses inside of our pro shop. We like to call ourselves the only driving range where you can bet horses and play golf in the same day at the same location. You know, joining the golf with the racetrack for families is perfect. You know, you can come over here, hit some golf balls, and then go have some lunch over at the track and play the horses. And there's obviously a lot of stuff to do over there for kids as well. So it's a perfect place.
Fans can also experience the Silks Poker Room on the 3rd floor with a variety of high-stakes games and tournament competition. Whatever you're looking for on race day, you can find it at Tampa Bay Downs.
The word is approachable, both as a fan and as an owner. Everybody that you run into wants you to be here. You have a real connection to the people, and I'm talking from the racing office all the way down to concessions. So it's just a great place to be an owner. It's a great place to train horses. It's probably the best surface in the country, and there's no better place to be in the winter.
I got to get there one day. It's on my bucket list. Post parade for the nightcap on Tampa Bay Derby Day. Mile on the Grass maiden special weight. And here's Volatility, John Terranova.
Yeah, this horse would have to improve, I think, off the turf race. It's not awful, but this may be a tough field.
63-1 here on Al Tara.
Yeah, and understandable. The one turf race makes the horse 163-1.
Justifiable Bell. Moving Barnes from Pletcher to Owen Hardy.
Yeah, that's an odd switch. Same connections. This horse would need to improve.
Major player in the 5. Galileo's Jewel 2 Sprint stretching out for Tony Dutrow.
The one thing I'd say is that she was towards the front in a race that basically collapsed last time. I'm not sure how far she wants to go.
5-2 right now. 22-1 next door, and the second-time starter for Tom Albertrani, Mysterious Stare.
Oddly, you get some turf success from a horse that's the Dam, who is a Louis XIV. Don't think of him as a turf influence.
And Preakness winner. Gotham Gray, first-time starter for Christophe Clement.
Yeah, the second Dam was Jeannie Jones, a very good runner. This horse produced 7 horse tried turf, 3 of them won. There's a little turf, but Frosted doesn't give me a lot of turf.
Like a very slight frame with the 7. The 8, double scoop, first-time starter for Tony Dutrow.
You want the turf pedigree in here. It's this horse. The Dam produced State of Rest, who won the Saratoga Derby, 2 Group 1s in Europe, including the Prince of Wales and the Cox Plate. This horse has turf pedigree out the gazoo.
Chad Brown, the favorite here, first-time starter, Royalty Interest.
Taking a lot of money, a horse that's probably a runner, those Europeans.
Little Miss Moonlight at 5-1. Tim Ham, first start on the turf, missed by 3/4 of a length.
Ran behind Jupiter's Moon and actually ran well first time, but goes from an inside post to an outside post.
2 sprints, stretching out, and turf debut for the 11th.
Yeah, no turf pedigree to speak of. Be a massive upset.
26-1 on that starter on the outside. Let's go to Lafitte and Acacia for more on the nightcap.
Greg, dust just settling following that stirring edition of the Tampa Bay Derby. We'll recap in just a moment, but first things first, the nightcap here, Acacia, and perhaps a historical moment for trainer Tony Dutrow, still sitting on 1,999 career wins.
And he's got 2 chances here, one with experience and one first-time starter. And as far as that one with experience does go, Galileo's Jewel, who's 5-2. She, I thought, ran a pretty good race last time out. She was forced to be a little bit wide, given the fact that there was another horse in the race who was a bit headstrong. She's just one of these fillies that just carries her weight. She doesn't look much more fit than she did in her first start when I saw her back in November. But she seems to be doing well. She ran a couple of good races, and we'll see if she can step forward today.
And the other Dutrow trained filly?
Double scoop. I am intrigued by this one. This one has a big pedigree. Tony Dutrow has been buying a lot of horses to run on the turf, and he's been having some success as well. This filly is out of repose, who has been quite a good producer. This makes this filly a half to State of Rest, 4-time Group 1 winner. He won the Saratoga Derby. We saw him there for Joseph O'Brien in Saratoga. He also won the Cox Plate, a very, very talented horse. Also in the family is multiple Group winner Tranquil Lady, who was a 2-time Group 3 winner. This one they bought over at the Goff's yearling sale for the U.S. equivalent of $210,000. And for a firster for the barn, she's very fit.
Royally Interest for Chad Brown. You see the Klarman colors there. Speaking with Chad this morning, he said, yeah, she's good. He likes her, but thinks this mile distance may be a little bit sharp moving forward, that she may thrive at distances of 9 and 10 furlongs.
One purchased over at the Arcana Deauville sale for U.S. equivalent of about $57,000, so a bit of a bargain buy, and we've seen these connections be very successful with horses purchased over in Europe. And the ones that I've seen by Le Havre do tend to be a little bit of a lighter frame, and that's what we see from her. I would imagine, just as Chad said, getting a race under her belt for some strength and a little bit more distance moving forward.
Tuppet Trice does not have a lighter frame. It's interesting. A win, yes, in the Tampa Bay Derby, finding out a way to win, but doesn't fit the profile, at least right now, in terms of what most Derby winners look like. Out on the racetrack, another error, a fumble, an interception at the start of the race with a poor break, but a win in the end. How are we feeling about Tuppet Trice?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Lafitte. His running style is not what we typically see have success in the Kentucky Derby. And look, he's a very talented horse. He's run very well. But the fact of the matter is that he gives himself a lot to do. When you have 20 horses in the starting gate in the Kentucky Derby and you put yourself...
That can't happen.
You put yourself behind the 8 ball at the beginning, you are adding just another layer to what can go wrong.
You're married to an assistant trainer, father-in-law Christophe Clement, one of the finest in the world. Is this a problem that a trainer can work on and rectify? And I know we also have a timetable to work with here, getting closer to the first Saturday in May, and theoretically, one more start for Tuppet Trice before the Derby.
I would certainly think so. As far as rectifying it in the morning, you can take a horse back to the starting gates. Sometimes there are certain issues, maybe physically and mentally, as to why a horse may not be breaking, whether it's a lack of muscle behind the saddle in their hindquarters. That's what they push off of. A lack of focus. You would see an equipment change, like a different pair of blinkers or a different type of bit that they may add. At this stage of the game, he's raced 4 times and he's done it every single time. It doesn't look very encouraging. A horse by the name of Wit comes to mind, who we saw as a really talented 2-year-old who did the same thing. And Todd just kind of said that's what he does. You have to learn to work with it and get the best out of your charge.
By Tappet, has sired several Belmont Stakes winners. A Tap Rit won here back in 2017, an eventual Belmont Stakes winner, but he was better getting out of the starting gate. Something to watch, certainly, for his next start, but he does win, and he has the points to qualify for the Kentucky Derby. Does Tappet Trice. All set for the nightcap. Jason Beam, one final time on Tampa Bay Derby Saturday.
Winning on Mysterious Stare and Lance's Smile will be all set to close out. Day number 60 back at it tomorrow here at Tampa Bay Downs. 9-race Sunday card tomorrow. Lance's Smile, Daniel Centeno to the outside will complete the line. Lance's Smile just about up. Now goes forward. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Good start in the center for Galileo's Jewel. Justifiable Bell is quick. Mysterious Stare from the outside. Those 3 right across the course as they come by us the first time around. And those 3 are now 2 as Mysterious Stare going to go off and lead him. Galileo's Jewel going to tuck back into that second position. Justifiable Bell was out in 3rd. Royalty Interest is in between horses. Little Miss Moonlight right to her outside. Volatility's down on the fence in 6th. And behind that comes Gotham Gray. The other Gray, Lance's Smile, right to that one's outside. A length more back to Double Scoop and another 2.5 back to Altira, who's 10th and last. So they have 5.5 furlongs remaining. 23-1 for that opening quarter mile. Mysterious Stare leads it by a head. Right up alongside Galileo's Jewel, now on level terms, and Galileo's Jewel going to go to the front. Little Miss Moonlight starts to progress on the outside, is up to 3rd now. It's Justifiable Bell back 4th. Royalty Interest is in 5th, about 4 off the pace, down to the inside, and Volatility starts to move through. The 2 Grays are after that, Gotham Gray and Lance's Smile. They're 2.5 in front of Double Scoop, and Altira is still at the back. 47-4 for that opening half mile. Galileo's Jewel takes over as they go into the turn. Little Miss Moonlight 2nd, back to 3rd now, Mysterious Stare in the black colors. Royalty Interest starting to get going, is 4th right now and only 2.5 off the top as they wind around to the quarter pole. Galileo's Jewel, Little Miss Moonlight preparing for the oncoming challenge of Royalty Interest. Here's Royalty Interest out 3 deep to come after the leaders as they spin into the stretch. Between horses, Little Miss Moonlight. Royalty Interest down the outside and Royalty Interest takes off for home. Justifiable Bell trying to run on with Volatility down the outside, but at the 16th pole, Royalty Interest is bounding clear. Royalty Interest and Irad Ortiz going to wrap up the card here. Festival Day, they win it by 3.5. Little Miss Moonlight was 2nd, Justifiable Bell 3rd, 4th went to Volatility, 5th looked like Galileo's Jewel.
How much better is she going to be, even with added ground? If that's what she does at a mile, Chad Brown thinking it might be too sharp. She obliterates her competition, does Royalty Interest, the debuting filly for Seth Klarman. Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz, 4th win on the afternoon.
What a day for Irad Ortiz. And this filly was nice. You could see her cruising up on the outside. He had plenty of horse underneath him, and I think going to be an exciting one going forward.
How exciting is that for a trainer when a first-time starter, exceeds expectations on debut like that?
Sometimes it's a pleasant surprise. Sometimes it makes you a little nervous because you say, okay, I didn't think they were as good perhaps as the workmate might be, or you wonder if they can repeat that moving forward. I think she beat a pretty nice field today, though, and could be a potential player.
A name to remember moving forward. Big performance, Royalty Interest here in the 12th and final at Tampa Bay Downs on Tampa Bay Derby Saturday. That'll wrap things up for Acacia and myself. Much more live racing, plus the feature at Oaklawn coming up. Key stepping stone towards the Apple Blossom. The Azeri is next.
Here they come into the stretch of the Apple Blossom Handicap. Take charge, Lady, the leader. Champion Azeri has taken over 2nd. Mandy's Gold is 3rd, and straightened for the run through the lane. It is Take Charge Lady leading at a length. Azeri digging in with a furlong to go. Take Charge Lady leads it. Azeri's trying to get to her. Take Charge Lady is strong. Azeri, the champion, trying one more time. Here she comes down the middle. The champion Azeri, and she does it.
3 Apple Blossoms in a row for the great Azeri, who was so good, was a Horse of the Year 2002. And that was with Laura DeSaru, and then moved to Dwayne Lucas, and still had some very big moments.
I thought one of the best races she ever ran was when she lost the personal ensign going a mile and a quarter, dueling in this suicidal pace. I think with a 45 and change to the half mile. And you were watching that race, and it's like the old joke about the John Wayne movie, I don't believe he's going to die twice. You just, even knowing that she won, you said to me, she doesn't get up here. And I remembered that race and thinking, I couldn't believe, because the horse that was second is a very good horse. I couldn't believe she got up.
Incredible performance. She was great. So fun to watch in her day. This year's edition of the Azeri Grade 2. Really our first big test in this distaff division this year. And we got two superstars showing up for their returns. Secret Oath, last year's Kentucky Oaks winner for Dwayne Lucas, and Clairiere, the two-time Grade 1 winner versus Steve Asmussen, who was a 3-5 favorite.
Yeah, this race was drawn on Monday, and as soon as I saw the overnight, I mean, I tweeted about it. You were excited, you know, to see Secret Oath back, to see Clairiere in here. Interstate Daydream, another good name. Hidden Connection. She's no bum, and some nice horses as well.
Here she is, last year's Kentucky Oaks winner for the legendary Dwayne Lucas.
We'll see. Can Wayne get her back to that good form she had in the first half of the season, include a Kentucky Oaks winner? I think she's the one who's probably more geared up to win today of the two big ones.
Some of her best moments here have come at Oaklawn. Lovely ride. She's been very effective on the lead. Can she get it here?
They had a lovely ride earlier. The going gets tougher, and she's also supposed to have to deal with Hot and Sultry on the front end.
3-5 on Clairiere, Ogden Phipps and Cotillion winner.
She's one of my favorite horses in training. I certainly hope she has another big year. I wouldn't bet her at 3-5, but she's a terrific, terrific racehorse.
You would love to see someone battle up front. She might get that with the 2 and the 7. Here is Lei Davida. Wow, 50-1.
50-1, I'm betting $10 to win on her because this is ridiculous. I mean, they've got Lovely Ride 14-1. I would love to take 6-5 that she beats Lovely Ride here.
Interstate Daydream, Brad Cox, her 4-year-old debut coming up.
I think this is a horse that can win the race. She's got to improve a little bit, but I'm not going to be surprised when she takes that step forward.
Hidden Connection, she started out so precocious so early. She hasn't really moved forward from that.
She had that terrific race when she lost to Echo Zulu last year, and she ran okay behind Pauline's Proles last time. You could do worse than her.
No
Always
question.
rooting for Raylu.
And here's the one who probably outquicks Lovely Ride to the front, Hot and Sultry.
She's 12-1. Hidden Connection's 18-1. La Vida is 50-1. I'm not saying that those horses, I want them, but I think they're more likely to win than this filly.
And Moon Swag on the outside. Brendan Walsh trains Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard.
Brendan's taking a shot. She will need a lot of help.
Minute to post coming up with a Grade 2 Azeri. Let's take a look at Interstate Daydream. This 4-year-old filly by Classic Empire for Brad Cox had won 3 of 4 before she got beat to end her 4-year-old campaign.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she's going to have to take a step forward, right? But she has run some good figures. She was running figures in the 90s. I thought her Black Eyed Susan was a very nice effort. Hey, she's not shown to be the kind of horse the 1 and 3 are, but she's not so far off of it that if she takes a step forward and she's really ready to roll first time out, she couldn't beat them today. Whether or not she can do it as we go more into the year, that's a whole other story.
And who knows, maybe she's the 4-year-old filly that takes a step forward in her debut here coming up for Brad Cox. She's 8-1 on the board. We know she's going to be forward, probably not on the lead, but maybe just off the 7 and the 2 in here. Let's go to Paul for more.
Yeah, and listen, an interesting race. It really is, because you have a comeback of a horse that won the Kentucky Oaks, and then you have a horse in Clairiere who's, you know, was an inch away from winning the Breeders' Cup. And both of these mares, they look tremendous on the racetrack. Secret Oath, I don't know if she's grown or not. It looks like her neck has grown, but we'll take you back to her last win, and it was the W in the Kentucky Oaks. She has not won since that effort. Now, she tried the boys. I didn't think that was a bad effort at all. And then she just ran into Nest, that at that time was just Better Society. Some nice, you know, fillies. And, you know, when you look, she actually did hit the front in that race against Malathot in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Now, will she need this race? I'm kind of in agreement with Andy that she might be more fit and ready and might show a little bit more speed off the layoff, where Steve might take a little bit of a different approach with Clairiere and maybe lay back and make one run. Well, that's what she's going to do anyway. She comes from way out of it. In the way this race could play with the 2 Lovely Ride, and you do also have some other horses in here that could show a ton of speed. So what's going to give in here? Interstate Daydream, we'll see how good she is. Hot and Sultry, we'll see how good she is. But all of these horses, seem like they need to be forwardly placed. So is this race going to fall into the hands of somebody like Clairiere? And I can understand right now at 4 to 5. Do you still think that's value right now, Jonathan?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want 3 to 5, but I would take it. And that's just because, you know, I think she's the best horse in the race. And I'm not really sure how good Secret Oath is. Yeah, I mean, sure, Secret Oath won the Kentucky Oaks, but Paulie, to your point, she didn't win after that. Nest handed it to her on a number of occasions, and I would think that Clairiere and Nest are considered, although Nest was outstanding last year, I think they would be considered in the same league. And the thing about Clairiere is yeah, I mean, the big question is she ready? I think she is ready, but the big question is she ready? Clairiere's arguably run 6, 7 races throughout her career that are faster than Secret Oath's best race. And the fact that they're as close as they are in price, I think it has a lot to do with Secret Oath being kind of a fan favorite at Oaklawn. It's Dwayne Lucas. It's the Kentucky Oaks winner from last year. Clairiere kind of had that one weird race up at Saratoga. I think she had an excuse that day. She came back and ran extremely well in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. I just think she's better. And look, I don't want 3 to 5. I don't want 4 to 5. And I'm actually hopeful I'll get a click up. I just think that she is a better horse. And I think that Steve's going to have her ready to run. I don't think this is a stepping stone. I think that he's going to have her ready to run in every race she shows up in. You don't bring a 5-year-old back with her credentials just for like one target. You come back to make a statement and to win a lot of races, and I think that's what Clairiere will do this year.
I don't agree with Jonathan. I'm not saying he's running a short horse, but Steve Asmussen, one of the reasons he's been so successful is he doesn't run them hard off layoffs. Of course they want to win, but his goal is not the Azeri, and I don't think Jonathan's implying it is, but he's saying a statement. I don't agree with that. I think his goals are the Apple Blossom, the Phipps, the Personal Ensign, and the Breeders' Cup. Those are the races they have circled. Sure, they wanted to run well, but I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to say if you look at the 2 horses, Secret Oath has got to prove that she can get back and be that horse. Clairiere could run a good 2nd or 3rd here, and they could be very happy that she ran well, and she'll go on and do better things. So I don't agree with Jonathan in that that situation, and I think she's a vulnerable 4 to 5 shot because of it. She's the best horse in the race. I completely agree with that. But I'm skeptical that she's going to be ready to run even close to her best race today.
Yeah, by the Apple Blossom, you would think for sure she's going to be at her peak.
Well, yeah, she's getting closer to it. I mean, listen, it's a long year, and the last thing you want to do is tighten the screws, in my opinion. And one of the reasons Steve has been so successful is he isn't somebody who has great numbers off of layoffs, with his routers especially.
4 to 5 favorite, Clairiere, 2-time Grade 1 winner, 5-year-old return, and the 4-year-old return from the rail to last year's Kentucky Oaks winner, trying to get back to that first half of the season form for Dwayne Lucas. The showdown in the Distaff division coming up. Let's go to Jim Byers for the call.
It's 55, a little on and off mist here in Hot Springs, fast track. As Moon Swag completes the loading. They're in the gate. And they're off. And an excellent start in the Azeri, and Lovely Ride is heading toward the front. Here comes Hot and Sultry up from the outside, and Hidden Connection in between horses, and those 3 are going to go headlong into that clubhouse turn. Interstate Daydream tucks right in behind them in 4th. Moonswag is 5th. La De Vida outside in 6th. Back to the inside is Secret Oath. She's 7th. 7 lengths off the lead around the turn, and 2.5 lengths to the good of Clairiere, who's got the view from the back here as they move on to the backstretch. It's Lovely Ride. She has established the lead for Christian Torres, a half length. Hot and Sultry. David Cabrera to the outside in 2nd. Moon Swag. Wide up the backstretch is 3rd by just ahead to Interstate Daydream on the inside. Hidden Connection remains prominent from between horses. And then it's a length and a half to La De Vida. The Chilean mare is racing in 6th as they pass the half-mile marker. 3.5 from the lead. Secret Oath is tipped outside. She's next to last and 6 lengths off the lead and just in front of Clairiere, who is positioned a bit toward the inside. Clairiere is hugging the rail as they come around the turn, and she is about 7 or 8 lengths off the lead. They come to the final quarter mile in the Azeri, hot and sultry, up to Lovely Ride. Lovely Ride inside, hot and sultry to the outside. And then on the extreme outside, Secret Oath has a clear path, and she is coming on. Clairiere is in behind horses. Secret Oath coming at hot and sultry. Interstate Daydream on the inside, now third. Secret Oath is making a winning return to the races in 2023. Draws off impressively with the Azeri. Clairiere up on the outside, and Interstate Daydream were tight for second.
Secret Oath, last year's Kentucky Oaks winner for the coach, Dwayne Lucas, wins her 4-year-old return.
When she didn't break well, and she didn't break well at all, I was thinking, oh, God, Secret Oath, she can't run at all anymore. And I know the race was coming apart at the end, but this was a demonstrative win by her. And this was the one that was more cranked up. Now, Clairiere didn't have the best of trips. She had a little bit of traffic, but she saved ground. But Secret Oath just blew her off the racetrack. So this horse is back. Now, listen, we'll see what kind of, one thing we know, she won't be missing any dances.
No.
And she's going to have to show she can withstand what's probably going to be a pretty tough campaign, but you got to be excited about it. I'm not disappointed in Clairiere at all. I don't think Steve's disappointed. I mean, obviously on a win. Clairiere will have her day. She didn't have the best of trips in here, but Secret Oath, in my opinion, was the one who was much more prepared to win today.
6 wins now from 14 starts. She's 4 for 5 at Oaklawn as well. We know she loves it here. Wins at 7-5, second choice on the board. And good to see this Kentucky Oaks winner from last year back in sharp form. Always a good story with Dwayne Lucas with a talented runner. And he certainly has that with this Azeri winner.
No, you know, listen, she's done great at Oaklawn, and she's obviously a very talented filly. She didn't break that well, but, boy, she put on a good race. Luis Saez, we'll see if he's keeping them out. Are they going to move to Tyler riding this horse? Now, Louis obviously riding Tampa Trice. You know he's going to stay there for that. But this is a nice performance. I'm not disappointed by Clairiere. I think she ran fine here, but it was Secret Oath's day.
How about this filly? First time out for Chad Brown, Klarovich Stables with Rat Ortiz Jr. Royalty Interest, impressive in the debut.
Yeah, no, this horse was the goods. They liked this horse, and she ran to it. As Lafitte was saying, Chad was saying he thought she wanted more distance. I don't know, she got herself right in the game. Irad was not going to make the same mistakes he made with Free Look, who was left with too much to do. This horse, the filly, was got right in the game. She's promising.
Just like this program last year, another huge afternoon for Rat Ortiz Jr. Royalty Interest caps off yet another win. Back in the Grade 2 Azeri, Secret Oath. Successful return to the races in her 4-year-old debut. Very good starting point for what could be a very big campaign.
Flightline is in full flight. Flightline turns it on at the top of the stretch, and he's in cruise control.
And Flightline takes off!
Take a good look at this, because you're not going to see this too often, maybe never again. Flightline, 20 lengths clear.
World-class racehorse, world-class performance at a world championship event.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Grade 2 Azeri in the Distaff division in the books. And it's last year's Kentucky Oaks winner for Dwayne Lucas. Secret Oath, your winner. Winner Circle lead-in brought to you by Fasig-Tipton Digital, North America's #1 digital auction platform for thoroughbreds. Fasig-Tipton Digital, the newest from the oldest. Learn more at digital.fasigtipton.com.
Well, that was impressive, Greg. This late in the show, you really did that very well.
Thank you.
I'm thrilled to see this filly back in the winner's circle. You know when she's good, she's very, very good. Obviously, she tailed off, though she did run a very credible race in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. I just hope that she can withstand whatever campaign she has and continue on to have a big year, because with Ness coming back, Clairiere obviously can run better than that. Potential for some very exciting races in this division.
You know, some of the other people on our program who are better attuned to looking at that kind of thing said from that long campaign, end of the year she looked a little light. So getting that rest, going back to the farm, maybe it's going to be a very different story here, and we're going to see even improvement from what we saw that first half of the year last year.
Well, sure. I mean, it can always get better, but I hope she got her rest in, because it's back to work for her, and she's going to work.
She is.
Rest in the Wayne Lucas
off that
part.
performance, going to dream some big dreams for what could be in 2023 with Secret Oath. Returns $4.80 for the win. And again, Tyler Gaffleone filling in with Luis Saez, her regular pilot, out of town to ride Tapit Trice in that Tampa Bay Derby.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, you never know. Wayne, one thing about Wayne, he's made this clear. He doesn't feel beholden to riders, and he was very tough. I thought he was very unfair to Luis, actually, on a couple of occasions last year. He knocked the ride in the Coaching Club American Oaks. I don't know what he thought she could have done, but Wayne is somebody that doesn't feel that, you know, riders will make moves too. And he sees that riders will go to the best available horse. So I won't be surprised if Tyler is the new rider, but we'll see.
Still the big three in this division. We're waiting to see Nest.
Yep.
Obviously, Secret Oath, Clairiere right there. Is that the...
What about the horse that ran second in the Breeders' Cup in California, whose name I'll never remember?
Blue Stripe?
Is she? I don't know if she's back in racing, but boy, she ran terrific in the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, she really did. Let's go to Paul for more on the Azeri.
With winning jockey here, Tyler Gaffleone of the Azeri, Secret Oath gets it done. Take us to your trip.
She broke good. She put herself in a nice spot. She relaxed beautifully down the backside. I was able to work myself out towards the outside, going into the far turn, and as soon as I let her go, she just exploded. She's a tremendous filly. All the credit goes to Wayne and his team. I feel so honored to be able to ride her.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? I mean, Louie's been on this horse. This is the first time you've ever been on her?
I worked her twice up in Saratoga this past summer, but this is the first time I was able to jump on in a race.
Has she gotten bigger? By the way, she looks giant.
Yeah, she definitely grew, and she filled out a little bit. She's a much more powerful filly, but, man, she was in great form today.
And you think she's a horse that can be more tactical as she's getting older and older now?
She was wanting to put herself closer. I was slowing her down the backside.
Yeah. Well, great ride, Tyler. I'm going to get Dwayne Lucas, the legend, and congratulations on the win and a W. Hopefully you might stay on her.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Good luck, Ty.
Pretty nice pickup mount to receive on last year's Kentucky Oaks winner. Looks like big things ahead for Secret Oath.
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, it's going to be a long year, and she's obviously run well at Oaklawn, but she ran pretty well at Churchill Downs as well. She's a very, very good horse when she's on top of her game, and I'd love to see her stay there all year.
Likely going to see these two go at it again at this racetrack in about a month's time.
I agree, and I think Clairiere will be more cranked up for that race, and she'll put a better show on. She didn't run badly at all. I don't think there's a single race that Secret Oath is eligible for that Wayne Lucas doesn't have open on his calendar. The boys, she could be coming. And listen, you know, he's had some very good horses have come out of that barn, including Serena's Song.
Circle the Whitney.
Yeah, listen. Is she better or worse than 20% to be in the Whitney at this point?
$4.80 to close it out. Payout $153.50. Not bad. Look what came in. Let's go back to Paulie with the legendary Dwayne Lucas.
With Hall of Fame trainer and the legend here, Dwayne Lucas gets it done with Secret Oath. I was asking Tyler, my goodness, has she grown since last year?
You know, she had that frame, and we thought she would grow into a mare like this, but she's put on, probably 75 pounds and gained 4 inches maybe, and her stride is unbelievable. But the thing about it, Lou, is that kick. When he puts on the foot on the accelerator, boy, she got it. She lays it down.
It seems like she's more eager to race. Tyler told me that she wanted to put herself more in the racing. He kind of had to slow her down. She's kind of becoming more rateable, no, Wayne?
Yeah, I think she's more mature than that mentally, too. You know, the thing I told him is that don't try to do it all at once. Just take a few, crowd him at the quarter pole, which he did. I said, just crowd him a little there and then come after him.
Well, you won the Azeri, so I'm guessing you're going to go to the Apple Blossom, where Azeri did shine a couple times.
Right, I had Azeri, too, so it's kind of fun to see it come full cycle. I think it says I'm getting older.
I don't know if age is just a number because you keep on winning races, Wayne.
Well, thanks. This has been a special one.
Well, it is a special one. And Secret Oath, the Breeders' Cup the Oaks winner, Kentucky Oaks winner, gets the job done here in this area. And my goodness, was it impressive.
Really was. Good to see her back to her best. And, look, it's the first race of her 4-year-old season. She's got room to move forward from here.
Yeah, she didn't even break. I mean, she got legitimately left in that race and she destroyed the field. She was just running away from him. I want to see Wayne get a hat like that for Paul. I'd like to see the next interview with the two of them both wearing hats
Paul
like that.
would look good in that.
Paul could really rock that hat.
T. Wayne Lucas looks like he is going to have a presence again this summer, certainly in this division, but he had a big day today, not just this race.
Yeah, but this is a big win, and he really had her ready today. And we'll see. Clairiere will be better prepared, probably get a fairer trip in the Apple Blossom, but if Philly runs like she did today, Clairiere will have her hands full.
More coming up. Got the nightcap still to come from Oaklawn, so stick around. We're going to look back at the Tampa Bay Derby as well. Some things to sort out with Tapit Trice. Slow into stride, slow out of the gate, but blew by everybody down the stretch. We'll be back right after this. Back with you on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Brought to you in part where you can play it all at Naira BetSpent. Any track, anywhere, anytime. It's a new shot for us.
Yeah, Times Square. I avoid it like a plague. It's a mile and a half from where I live.
Ernie Munich out late shooting.
Ernie's everywhere. Ernie can't be stopped. He may be driving one of those cabs.
That's his curfew.
It's been a fun show today.
Really has.
Great racing.
Helps to have the Stars Thoroughbred runners that we've had on this program today. It was a loaded program. We knew that coming in. It's lived up to the billing.
Yeah.
Been very fun. We still have the nightcap coming up at Oaklawn. We're going to revisit what we saw at Tampa Bay on the road to the Kentucky Derby. Tapit Trice, so much hype about this horse. He continues to win, but some things to sort out for his Hall of Fame trainer.
But I think you could argue that this is sort of a reminder of what the Triple Crown preps are about. They're about finding out about horses, learning, getting better, getting more mature. Tapit Trice has got a lot of maturing to do. He's also got a lot of talent.
Here he comes.
Greg saying to me, he can't win, he can win. I say the 8th ball, he's home. He's going to win. He just ground out the victory. Obviously not a flashy. But you know what? To expect a horse like that to be flashy is a little unreasonable. Is that fair?
Yeah, it is. And the way you saw him finish, does it make you think even more ground's going to be better for him?
Oh, I don't think ground's going to ever be a problem for this horse. But
it's going to be a bonus, though.
Yeah, it's going to be good for him. But you got to, when you're running in these big races get tougher, the competition gets tougher, you don't want to give an advantage to your opponents. And listen, some horses are sluggish early. Zenyatta was sluggish early, but she was strong late. And that's the way they run. So he does have that running style, and he's obviously talented, but he's a little bit green. And this was just not a super stellar field. He's going to have to get better. Todd knows that as well. We'll see how much better he can get. He's obviously good.
Very good. We'll see if these problems can be sorted out. Maybe he can, who knows? Maybe he can overcome them.
I want to see the figure today. I'm very curious because it doesn't seem like a race that came up fast.
He moves into 6th on this Kentucky Derby points leaderboard. His stablemate leading the pack, the 2-year-old champ, Forte.
And he'll stay at the Florida Derby, so this one will likely come to either the Wood Memorial, Tapit Trice.
Who will stay?
Forte will stay in Florida. Todd's pretty much said that. So I think you'll see Tapit Trice either the Bluegrass or here at Aqueduct.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him. And he's obviously a good horse. Mandy Pope puts a lot of money in the game. Nice year with good horses, but he's a work in progress. Forte is a finished product. I mean, he's going to get better, but you know what I mean? He goes out and does his business.
Got the nightcap coming up at Oaklawn. 6-furlong sprint to close it out. An allowance race for non-winners of 2 life. Arkansas bred runners. We love it.
You love the Arky breds.
I love Garhole. Midnight Taxes right now the 5. 5-2 for Chris Hartman. 4-length win in the slop last time out. Getting back to dirt.
Going's getting tougher. He's got to deal with speed for Betty's Cash. Probably Mo Choctaw. I'm a little interested in Willow Creek Road. What do you think of him, the 9?
Yeah, first time out winner for that barn, and a horse who took some money too from the rail. Got a 67 bite, not that far off what Midnight Taxes did in start number 5. And you're getting 6-1 on Willow Creek Road. Huge effort too from the 10. Chupapi Manyayo last time out, 10+ length victory.
The way that rolled off your tongue, that was very impressive.
Start number 2.
You're 3.5 hours into the show, and you're just playing that. I couldn't even, after hearing you say it, I couldn't even say it.
We got to get, hopefully Jonathan's still with us because we got to get him out on this. Here's the 2, Aloe Henry from the inside.
Well, he's going to get some pace to run at, so not impossible.
Ricardo Santana rides 7-1. Betty's Cash next door, 5-1 here, and this one with speed.
I think this horse is an interesting horse. Ran well last time with a fast pace, but isn't he likely to be in the same situation today?
This horse, the 4 showed talent, has been off since the stakes race last April.
Would have to improve off those efforts, coming off a long layoff for a barn that doesn't have good layoff stats.
Midnight Taxes, Chris Hartman's current 2-1 favorite.
I'm against this horse. This is a much tougher field. Chris Hartman, what it's worth, 2 for 16 on relatively short rest, coming off a maiden win, and not good numbers off maiden wins.
Huge step up off a win against Softer for the 6. Here's the 7 Vying Edge.
Yeah, another one it would have to improve in a much easier spot last time.
Mo Choctaw, 15-1.
Yeah, it comes off a decent enough effort, but another horse is just so much speed in here. What's this horse going to do?
Here's this 9 who took a little bit of money and then won that debut from the rail.
Why is he a big price in here? This trainer has excellent numbers, by the way, off maiden wins, I believe. No. Yes, he does. Second starts, maiden wins in their debut, terrific numbers.
Chupapi Manyayo went by that 10 length winner in start number 2 last out. The 11 re-up, Gabriel Saez.
Yeah, it would have to improve.
Also eligibles both get in. Here's the 13 Street Commander.
Should this horse be 19-1?
No.
He's not terrible, and he could take advantage of a fast pace.
And just missed against Aloe Henry, who's 8-1 right now. And then Goodnight Archie outside post for Tammy Hornsby.
Another horse who the recent form or the relatively recent races showing are bad, but has some back races.
2 minutes to post in a nightcap. Let's go to Paul standing by with a special guest.
Very privileged to be with Louis Elzer, the president of Oaklawn Racing Club, here for a long, long time. Louis, you have skin in the game, too. You have a ton of horses. But we also got to talk about a special weekend that we're having next weekend.
Well, we do. It's the National Racing Museum and Hall of Fame Day. We're honoring all living trainers and jockeys that are Hall of Fame members from the National Museum in Saratoga Springs, New York, which is such a great facility. And we're honored to have such great participation.
I mean, the lineup is unbelievable. From Mike Smith, you can go on and on to D. Wayne Lucas, who's here, Richard Mandela, so many different Hall of Famers. I want to say like almost 80% of them are Hall of Famers. This is the second year you have done this. What brought this upon this?
Well, I was at a board meeting in Saratoga, and I asked, what does the museum do after the annual event in August? And unfortunately, they really didn't do anything. Then I took it upon myself to create this event last year. We were a little left-handed. It was late in the game, but we knew it was going to grow. And we had great participation last year, and this year it surpassed all of our expectations. We have people flying in from coast to coast. We're fortunate to have so many Hall of Famers that are here already at Oaklawn. But to see some of these greats, and I know our fans, our crowd, like Pat Day coming in, Carl Navsker, they're so knowledgeable. Angel Cadera, who's coming in. Our fans are so knowledgeable that this is always a great, great event, and we're very, very excited.
Yeah, I left out so many ton of names. And again, you're giving out free tickets from 11 to 12:30, or it's not free tickets, posters, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. We have a true giveaway with posters of their pictures, and they'll all line up on the north end and autograph each one by their picture. They truly are keepsakes. And I tell you what's so much fun. These Hall of Famers, they've moved on from their career. Many have. Not all of them, of course, but many have. And so this is an event, and our fans last year, we had over 2,000 people lined up. We had no idea. If we ever get a break with the weather, we might even double that next year. And so it's exciting.
It really is exciting for me. I can't wait to next Saturday, and you've been such a gracious host to us here at Fox Sports, America's Day at the Races. Thank you so much, Mr. Stone.
Great. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful day.
Family has done just such a tremendous job from generation to generation moving things forward at Oaklawn Park.
No, Oaklawn is a real, it's obviously a huge destination spot in Arkansas, and the fans really love the game, and you get big crowds for it, and, it's a fun place to go to. You've been there, or
I have not
never
yet
been
been
there.
there.
Yeah, I went there 4 years ago, I think, and had a weekend there. It was fun to go there. It's an effort. It's not an easy place to get to. For me, I flew to Memphis and drove. It's about 3 hours, a little less. Not that bad, but it's really a fun place, fun town, nice places to go to, and the racing's fun, and the fans are enthusiastic.
Meanwhile, the 8-5 favorite in this finale coming up. It's midnight taxes for Chris Hartman still. Let's go back to Paul.
Yeah, the other part about this, guys, it's a packed house here today, and it's an honor for me. Listen, I'd say this all the time. To play 10 years and 17 years in Major League Baseball, 10 years in the big league, I was so blessed. But when people come up to me and tell me how good our show is and how well I'm doing and how good Greg's doing and Andy and Mig and everybody a part of the team, Maggie and Acacia and Lafitte, it blows me away. About 85 to 100 people have come to me today, say, we love your show, keep doing what you're doing. And that goes to the people in the truck. I can't say enough about everybody that's involved. I'm not going to mention everybody as well, but a wonderful show again today. And Dwayne Lucas gets the job done with Secret Oath. Okay, where do we go here in the last race? I'm kind of with you guys. Listen, Willow Creek Road, I thought we had a good race tonight. First time out, winning from a little bit off the pace. Some of the times these Arkansas breds, when they win, usually it's gate to wire. This horse showed a little bit of tactability. I thought ran well. You got to beat the Chris Hartman horse. When you look at the Hartman and the Moquette horses, it has nothing to do with the Arkansas bred industry. but they're not really Arkansas breds. The 5 is a Midnight Loot out of an Include mare. I get the horses bred here in Arkansas. And then when you look at the 10 in here, he's a Sky Kingdom out of a Tactical Cat mare. So I do think the Hartman's going to be tough to beat in here, although he's going to have to deal with some speed in here. There's way more speed in here. So I'm going to end up on Chupapi Manana, JK.
My man, Paulie. Save the day. That way I don't have to do it. You just knocked it out of the park for me. That was good. That was good. Look, I think Midnight Taxes is a very likely winner, but in a race like this, I don't feel like leaning on this horse. Speed figure this horse earned last time absolutely puts him in the winner's circle. I'm going to go towards the inside with 2 horses I want to mention, and I don't know which one I'm going to pick yet, but I'll decide before I finish this little run here. I think the 3 and the 4, the 3 Betty's Cash and the 4 Where's Randy, both make a little bit of sense speed figure wise. Where's Randy, the 4, has always taken money. They're always betting this horse a little bit. Bet last time in a stakes race. So I just feel like there's a little bit of talent with the 4 Where's Randy, and then the 3 Betty's Cash has some speed from the inside on a sloppy racetrack. You love when a horse can clear and get away from there. I'll go with the better price, just for the sake of trying to get something a little interesting to happen here. I like the 4 Where's Randy, but I'm not mad at the 3 Betty's Cash.
8-1 on the 3. I think 9-1 on the 5. I think 4 has some talent as well. Long layoff to overcome, though.
I bet the 9 Willow Creek Road. Box 9-10. I'm going for closers.
That's the second time starter for McLean Robertson. Had to deal with the rail, overcame it in the debut.
I'm just glad we're finally getting this race off.
Favorite, Midnight Taxes, Chris Hartman. That is the 5. Nick Juarez rides. Big effort on a sloppy track last time out. Let's go to Jim Byers for the nightcap.
Commander, and the last to load is Goodnight Archie. Goodnight Archie moves up. All in line. They're off. Good start for Betty's Cash. Betty's Cash and Midnight Taxes, they're out best. Mo Choctaw races in 3rd, followed by Willow Creek Road in 4th, and right to the inside, Campisi is 5th. Goodnight Archie 6th, and then comes Vying Edge. He's racing in between horses. He's about 8 lengths off the lead, along with Chupapi Munyayo, who's well back in the field and just had to steady a bit. Re-up is outside of him. Where's Randy? The bright gray is at the rail toward the backfield. Aloe Henry is next to last, and trailing the field is Street Commander as they round the turn and head to the top of the stretch. On the outside, it's Midnight Taxes, and he's forging to a short lead. Betty's Cash trying to fight him off from the inside. And meanwhile, up on the outside, Willow Creek Road, Eduardo Gallardo getting into it here as Midnight Taxes takes over the lead. But here's Willow Creek Road moving right on by. Willow Creek Road nicely steps clear here in the final 16th. Midnight Taxes to be a clear second. Where's Randy from the clouds is going to wind up 3rd, and Chupapi Munyayo 4th.
Willow Creek Road, now 2 for 2. Nice selection.
I want an 11th race at Oaklawn. I'm ready.
This was a really fun Saturday. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Some big races. Tapit Trice, we'll see what his next step is. Gets the job done. Tampa Bay Derby and Secret Oath, obviously, very impressive coming back.
Yeah, she was super today. She was the star of the show today.
We will see you tomorrow. We're back 3 Eastern start time on our FS2 coverage. It was Rosa Veloce. She's won 4 of her last 5. And Rob Atras, her trainer, has won 7 of his last 8 on the circuit. There's last year's Kentucky Oaks winner for D. Wayne Lucas, Secret Oath. Successful 4-year-old return to the races with that Grade 2 Azeri win. And Tapit Trice collects points to get into the starting gate for this year's Kentucky Derby with that victory in the Tampa Bay Derby. We'll see you tomorrow.
These are the trainers and teachers, the cooks, carpenters, and clockers, grooms, and gardeners. These are the hard-working people who show up every day to keep horse racing running across the state. Good-paying jobs that support New York families, along with the thousands of local businesses that depend on Belmont Park. Modernizing Belmont Park would generate $1 billion in economic activity and protect and create thousands of jobs. Albany, create New York jobs. Modernize Belmont Park.
The Kentucky Derby Bankroll Builder is back at Naira